Oh boy, here we go again. Ah shit, here we go again. There's that meme. This isn't a CRS, but it's a weird revive almost of the format. Um, I'm with my buddy Loach as always. He's been popping off with his stock piece analysis. Look at him go,
We're
man.
already gonna show. We're already gonna show my channel. Yeah, doing the One Piece stock analysis stuff. I'm just having fun with it. We're just having fun, folks.
It's
But
all
I
good
I
fun,
did.
folks.
Yeah, it's all good fun. I did want to bring this video up to Cosmos' attention because he's doing his whole Assassin's Creed breakdown, and then I watch a decent amount of Asmongold, and Asmongold watches a lot of Rev. So I've been turned on to Rev from Asmongold stuff, and mostly I kind of like watching their content. They're pretty fun for like a bit of like the whole drama stuff going on, but they cover a shitload of Assassin's Creed Shadows coverage, especially when it comes to stuff like outside of the game, like a lot of like social stuff and that sort of thing. So I've talked a little bit off stream with Cosmos about this stuff, kind of getting their general opinions on it. And because I think they're going to be one of the ones who has the most informed, the most informed information whenever it comes to Assassin's Creed and its story, I think it's going to be really interesting to get his perspective on this, especially because Rev and Asmongold have been milking Assassin's Creed for like eight,
Like a
9 months
sacred
now.
cow, brother.
Wallahi, it is the sacred cow.
And let's just get it out of the way. We have seen about 3 minutes of this video. We didn't think it was going to be that much. We just thought it was going to be fun. Little, we'll watch it as we kind of hang out, folks. Let me tell you, folks, it's a doozy, folks.
Yeah,
It's a
I was
doozy.
thinking, I could grind in classic WoW and watch this in the background and kind of like talk about it. No, no,
No,
we. This has been a big breakdown, and I pushed Cosmos to record this, and I think our commentary is going to be really illuminating because we'll see how Rev does. We'll see.
but I think there's some important context to get out of the way first. So, look, Ubisoft, not the most beloved name in gaming right now. Everyone can recognize that. They've made some pretty controversial decisions and they've had some pretty public failures. No one's going to deny that. But Assassin's Creed is something that if you're at all following this channel and you're seeing this video, you can look at the live tab and see I've been doing a lot of Assassin's Creed. I've been trying to get completely through the series from AC1 in release order in time for Shadows. We're about 2 weeks away and we're on Odyssey. So we'll see if we can make it. But I've gotten to experience the game or the series from beginning to end, and haven't really followed any of the social media. And so when I found out that the game was being pretty negatively received, I was actually confused. Like, whoa, is the game out already? I thought I was kind of on time before the delays, or I mean, especially after the delays. And no, the game hasn't been released yet, and there's been a lot of controversy. So I was wondering, well, what on earth for? I mean, I've been playing through the Assassin's Creed games. There's plenty to criticize about the formula. If you don't like it, sure, what's going on? And most of what I found is troubling. Uh, the main criticism what we've seen for Shadows is that Yasuke shouldn't be the main character because it's not historically accurate. And to that, I have to say, what? That gap was so I can play and I'm leaving this in the video. That gap was so I could insert a clip of anything I decide in the moment when editing to show how fucking batshit insane, not historically accurate this game is. I'm probably gonna go with fist fighting the Pope, but if I haven't, here's me fist fighting the Pope.
No, and now do my favorite one, which is when the guy shoots lightning from the sword.
Yeah, we'll do that one. And that's how Elise dies, by the way. Uh, like, so if your criticism is that the game isn't historically accurate, you should play the games. You'll have a good time. It'll be a fun journey. I've been doing it. It's pretty fun. The games only get better as you go on. Actually, it's kind of crazy how much a big an improvement from AC1 to AC2. Like, as I played AC2, my mind was blown because I was like, literally everything about the game they improved. It's nuts. You'll have a good time. But here's the thing: if you are because I've seen the blog post and I'm not that familiar, but there was like a guy who was consulted to do writing for Yasuke, and he wrote some really cringe fan fiction, and he's touting that as historically accurate. if you're criticizing that or that marketing or that business choice to consult that person, I'm right there with you. Not the best play. Probably wouldn't have done that. But if your actual problem with Yasuke is that he's not historically accurate, I I don't know what to tell you. And that seems to be the main criticism, because I've seen some Red videos before that we haven't streamed, and we've seen some Asmongold videos where I had basically the same reaction. Whereas it that that's the main criticism I've seen, is that both of them don't seem to like Yasuke for historical inaccuracy, and I feel like both of them, and to Asmongold's credit, he has outright stated never played an Assassin's Creed game, not one. So completely fair for him to have this misconception. It's a little awkward that you've been milking this franchise for 9 months. You've never done a single like Google search about any of the game's plots, because any of these games' plots would tell you that we're not going for a documentary, and we're kind of doing some historical exaggerations. But yeah, today we're just gonna look at a good old Rev video. We're gonna try to beat Asmongold to the punch, but I bet he's already watched this video.
I think I will say, when it comes to the case of us not defending the whole like Yasuke thing, the main controversial thing, at least from our perspectives, is the fact that this is it's the first Assassin's Creed where you're playing a notable historical figure.
Yeah, that is my only
as a
issue.
main character.
Yeah, and so for those who are unaware, Ezio Auditore isn't a real guy. They made him up. Same thing with Altair. Same thing with Connor and Hatham. Same thing with Edward and Arno and Naue. Actually, Naue's not real either. Same thing with Aveline and Adewale and Shay, and I'm trying to think of like literally every assassin. None of them are real.
The twins.
Jacob and Evie. None of them are real, except for Yasuke. Except for Yasuke. That's the one thing that I kind of go, well, that's new. That doesn't have to be bad, because here's the instant clapback response. Well, yeah, but in the lore of the Assassin's Creed games, all the protagonists have been literally erased from history. Is it too out of the realm of possibility that if they can erase you from history, they can clownify you through history? They can take away your achievements and make you... And when I say clownify, what I'm referencing is, it may be controversial to say, and there may be arguments about whether or not a retainer counts, or whether or not he would have been... Because he was allowed to carry swords, does that make him a samurai, or would he have gathered the same respect? Based on historical sources that I am familiar with, Yasuke was basically used as an attraction. He was taken around with Oda Nobunaga and portrayed like, look at this savage I found dressed up in people clothes. That isn't my opinion. That isn't my feelings on Yasuke, because I think he's incredibly cool and has really cool things you can do in the story with him. That is most of historical record. And that may be tainted. Of course, there would be people with biases and agendas at the time that maybe in real history sought to make him more of a joke and less of a warrior than he maybe deserved. And that's why it's contentious and that's why it's argued. But when we're talking about an Assassin's Creed game, I of course expect them to make Yasuke a cool warrior and would just accept the lore that Abstergo or Templars throughout history made light of his achievements. That isn't a hard stretch for me. But what I will say, the only existing criticism I have is, well, now you've tied it to an existing character that there is historical consensus that he did certain things. So now I will be expecting to do those things. And if I don't do those things, I will be disappointed. There's certain battles and certain events I know Yasuke was at historically, because you've made it a real person. I will expect that from you. And you don't get to go, well, you shouldn't have expected that, when you made it a character with real-world historical achievements. If I play George Washington, I want to cross the fucking Potomac. It's not fucking hard. It's not a hard concept. That is my main criticism with Yasuke. Notice none of that has to do with being a black man in Japan. And notice none of my criticism about Naoe's being a woman. I've played a black character before. A couple of them, in fact. Don't really care about that at all. Actually,
But he played a couple female characters too in this game series.
In this series, I played Adewale, freed slaves, thought it was pretty sick, thought it was probably the only DLC I've played throughout the streams actually has been Freedom Cry, because I was just not done playing Black Flag. I was having too good of a time, and I couldn't justify just doing side world content. So I was like, fuck it, I'll do a DLC. It's kind of story related. It'll be relevant. And I also did the same thing with Liberation, which I would almost count as a 3 DLC. But yeah, I played Aveline, who's a black woman before. That wasn't my criticism of Liberation. I played Adewale, I played Connor and Evie Fry and Aya, and I'm gonna pick Cassandra when I play Odyssey. I'm gonna choose a woman. Can you fucking imagine? They're not even having to force it down my throat. I'm choosing it.
This is DEI.
I'm telling you, Trevor, you're right. The animus effect is making me woke and soy. The bleeding effect is it's
taking over.
Altair, what are you trying to show me? Okay, yeah, that sounds reasonable. Altair. I don't. We might have to cut that.
Yeah, we're gonna don't worry, we're gonna cut that. Yeah.
It's just gonna be a bleep, and I'll be like, yeah, okay, Altair.
Wow, I can't believe he said that.
So brave, King. But yeah, I don't know. Just that's never been a problem I've had. But okay, we're poisoning the well. I think. I mean, even though we've seen 4 minutes of this video, and let's just get it out of the way. I'm not implying that Asmongold or Rev are racist or sexist in their criticisms. What I will be accusing them of, hence therefore, and really just Rev. I mean, Asmongold, I'm just saying because. Get farmed if you're watching this because of Asmongold. Get actually farmed, idiot. But we're going to be mainly talking about Rev, and I'm not going to imply or state at any point that Rev is racist or sexist. What I will say is that what I am going to be accusing them of is bad faith, invalid, lying, slanderous, libelous comments that they should probably be sued for, and I'm not exaggerating. Some of this is straight up dishonest, misattributing quotes. I'm getting ahead of myself. And Rev, I want to make this solemn bet with you. If this game, if Shadows does less than 20 million copies, I will get a VTuber model with a dunce head or dunce cap on my head for a year. But if it does sell 20 million copies, I want your VTuber to become fat. That's what I want.
Because of how many L's you're gonna eat.
Yeah, and because of the words you're gonna have to eat. But yeah, I want you to mainly because I want you to have to play a fat VTuber because I think that's more true to your personality. You just
come on.
No, fuck you. I hope RFK takes you to Fat Cat. No, okay, we gotta cut that. We gotta cut that too. Okay.
We can't. No. Instead of cutting it, you just have to do like a censor thing over it. It's like No, I think if we each over the 20 million, we win the bet. If they need to change their hair to a full neon color, like neon blue,
and it has to alternate colors throughout the video at a rapid pace that triggers epileptic seizures.
Yeah, that's what we want. That's our demands.
That's our demands.
we get rainbow hair.
All right. Let's see what this is about. Let's go in. Let's dive in.
Hey, what's up, guys? Rev here. So it must be a day that ends in Y because we have another round of bad news for Ubisoft. So let's start off here with
also for those that aren't familiar with Rev, that voice was a hell of a shock. You're like, why do they keep saying he when they refer to Rev? If you've never seen one of these videos, well, that shocked the shit out of you, didn't it? It did. You weren't expecting that shit at all, weren't you? All right. So we can roll it back. Sorry, I wanted them to hear the voice.
Hey, what's up, guys? Rev here. So it must be a day that ends in Y because we have another round of bad news for Ubisoft. So let's start off here with this report from Reuters that states, Ubisoft reports 52% drop in Q3 net bookings in line with guidance. Now, given the entire fiscal year for Ubisoft, that's not too surprising.
It's not been a great year.
After AAA flop.
No.
However, things are so bad right now.
You say AAA flop. Can we pause real quick? Yeah, you say AAA flop. We gotta be fair. We gotta, we've been accusing Rev of a lot of bad faith, but let's actually add. It's bolster their argument. Ubisoft has had a quadruple A flop this year. Let's be fair. Come on now. Come on.
The first one in history. Give them a round of applause, folks. Give them a round of applause, please.
Yeah, not only did they make the first quadruple A game in history, but they made the first quadruple A failure in history. They're breaking records. It's Ubisoft breaking new ground as always. I'll just say.
Two new trophies, both of which are mountains of trash.
Yeah, it's the achievements where you lose gamer score when you get them.
Well, they lost dollars, which is
Oh
less
yeah,
important than my gamer score.
that's true. Listen, bankrupt me all you want, but I earned my 53,000 gamer score in Xbox 360. Goddamn it,
Only 53,000, dude. I was over 100K on mine.
dude! I got Xbox late, dude. Shut up, dude.
Ugh, not even a real gamer.
No! I'm a real gamer. I'm a real gamer. I
I'll
was
tell you
just poor. I was just
when
poor.
When Rev looks at this video and they see you're not a real gamer, dude, that's gonna invalidate
No.
every argument you're gonna say.
Dude, the literal like I think 100 hours of Assassin's Creed I've played it in a row.
Not
No,
real.
Not real. No.
You paid some Indian on Fiverr to do that.
Dude, you're not supposed to tell them about that. Don't tell them about Rakesh. He was really
Can't
excited.
tell them about Rakesh.
He was really excited when we played Syndicate because Henry Green got to kiss Evie. He was really excited about that game.
It is literally me.
It's literally me. He got the Bob Ziffin again. Okay,
Continuing.
All right.
To hang on to its investors that for Q4 they are not ensuring a profit anymore.
Mhm.
They're just trying to ensure shareholders that they'll break even. That's how bad.
And
things
is that
are
so
right now
bad?
with Ubisoft. They-
Now hold on a second. Hey guys, I see some guns coming out in the stands right here. People are ready to jump out like it's a 1929 stock market crash. Hold on a second. Wait a minute. We're not gonna listen.
But our stock is crashing.
Yeah, just hear me out. Listen, past 3 quarters not been great. Hear me out. Our goal for this quarter, guys. We're not gonna lose money. There's some poor optimistic soul. So we're going to profit. No. Hell no. Unless somehow Shadow sells like 25 million copies. But like that would only be possible if they did like 300,000 pre-order sales before the game's even released, which that'll ever happen. But no, we're hoping to break even. You will this quarter, you're not going to lose any money. You're going to go straight even. The whole
But
year.
what about the money we've already lost?
That's last. Yeah, you did. We did lose that. That is gone, and we're not getting that back. But someone's like, but you said break even. Does that mean break even for the year? Nope. We're for the quarter.
No.
This quarter.
No.
The one we're in. The one we're in. We're gonna break even in this quarter. That's the goal here, guys. But hey, that's good. That's not bad news for once, which is almost good news. Yeah.
That's one step. That's one step away from good news, folks. Think about it.
Well, in the France, not the bad news is good news. In Le France.
In Le France.
Can't even guarantee a profit. All they're trying to do is tread water.
To be fair, if they guaranteed a
We
profit,
also know
they
that
would
there
be
is a Hail
lying.
Mary attack.
Like, let's be real. Like, it's not like you would report it differently if they're like, guys, this quarter is the one. Okay, hear me out. We let it ride on black one more time. Hear me out.
If we got them saying this quarter's going to be the one, we would be seeing the video saying Assassin's Creed Shadow Ubisoft staff is slurping the copium.
Yeah, like they're being realistic. Like it'd be really funny if they're like, guys, $400 more million, and I promise. Listen to me. It's me. It's your pal. It's your pal Jonathan Dumont coming to you. Okay, listen. Hear me out. $400 billion more. Okay. It's gonna be the best quarter of your life, folks. We are making Ubisoft great again, folks. With the 400 just this one more. Come on, let me gamble one more time with your money. Come on, then.
We're gonna tariff the pre-orders.
The pre-orders are our gold cards.
the pre-order gold cards.
Okay. Well, yeah, I just think it's funny where it's like they're not even guaranteeing a profit. Well, they can't. What do you want them to do? Fucking lie?
Right now at Ubisoft, they can't even guarantee a profit. All they're trying to do is tread water. That is really bad. Now, we also know that there is a Hail Mary attempt to save this company because their value right now is about just over $1 billion. In fact, many people say the IPs they own are more valuable than the company itself. And one of those IPs is, of course, Assassin's Creed.
Hey,
Totally fair thing to say. Totally fair thing for Red to say. Yeah.
hey, that's where I come in. I play this series. I like this series. Hey,
What the hell is that?
hey, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know anything about that Ubisoft filler you keep talking about, but I know Assassin's Creed. Hey, I know this
Yeah,
series.
I think it's 100% fair for Red to say that. I mean, yeah, the IPs they own are probably worth more than the total asset quality from them, especially after all of the downturn of their company.
Oh, for
I agree
sure.
with that.
I wouldn't buy Ubisoft, but I could buy, like, if I could buy Shadows without having to buy any of the baggage of Ubisoft's reputation. Fuck yeah, dude. Like, I mean, I don't have that money, but like, if I had that money, and they're like, we'll let you buy the Assassin's Creed franchise. Oh yeah, but you have to buy us as well. No, if
No.
you if
Hell
it's
no.
that one meme of Peter Griffin where if that even touches my copy of Roadhouse, I will fucking kill you. Like I'm trying to buy Shadows and they're like, do you want the Sea of Thieves franchise as well? I'll cut you. I will fucking.
I'll kill you.
I'll kill you. All right.
Now, this is their home run. This is their Hail Mary pass right here. Assassin's Creed Shadows releases on March 20th, and they need this to not only succeed, but succeed very well. Like, we're talking somewhere around 10 million units sold.
I will say,
saying
the
is a-
CEO of fucking Ubisoft is smoking a cigarette with the shakiest of hands as we're getting closer and closer to the release. Like, he wakes up every day in a cold sweat looking at his alarm clock like, Yasuke! Oh, God. It hasn't released yet. Why are they so mean to me, Martha? Why? Why do they hate it?
No, he opens his eyes, crusted shut, as he looks at his phone, plus 999 notifications.
Yeah. It was like yeah, he has like every time he wakes up, instead of like an alarm clock, it's just the fucking dawn of the no, it's the dawn of the second day sound effect and screen from fucking Majora's Mask. He's like, one day closer.
No, I'm imagining he like gets up, he like walks over to his little ocarina, and he starts trying to play the Song of Return.
No, dude, do you really think he wants to relive the past couple of months' controversies?
Yes, he wants to go back so he can leave the company.
Oh man, but yeah, I will say, whether or not I think this game is gonna be good or not, there is no one on earth more stressed and wanting Shadows to succeed than the CEO of Ubisoft right now. Like, I imagine he got like cussed out for like 3 hours straight by his shareholders. Like, motherfucker, break a profit in this inflation, I'll kill you. And he just yelled at him for 3 hours. He comes home like, oh honey, how was work? Like, hey, you pre-ordered Assassin's Creed Shadows, right? Of course, honey. Oh, thank God. Okay.
And then like seeing his wife chew on him, he looks at her Ubisoft account, and she hasn't pre-ordered it.
Yeah. Oh God, dude. Like, you almost feel bad for the guy. I wouldn't, if I was him, I would not be able to eat. Like, are you kidding me?
Oh, I know.
The life of my career.
I would be fucking cut because of how much I would be fasting.
Yeah, like
my dinner would be a cigarette.
Yeah, you talk about stress, dude. Like it's one of those moments where they're like, John, I really just think you need something to drink. He's like, yeah. He takes a glass of water, shakes so violently it spills out. I'm not thirsty. I'm okay. I'm good.
Yeah, the water hits his hand. And you know whenever your hands are like so dry that like
it soaks up the moisture and he's
it
not wet at
really
all. Yeah, like he spills it all over his skin and he's like, there's no wetness at all because it's just like the whiteness like goes into like a little bit darker. Like he just like sponges up the water.
Thanks, honey. I really needed that. And it's like there's like 80% on the table.
like he's like, thanks honey, I really need that. He's already sweating the liquid back out.
The reason he wasn't sweating before is because he was out of moisture.
Yeah. He's like SpongeBob or Patrick in the episode with Sandy. He's just sitting there withered.
Just trying to lick his lips. Yeah.
Well, like you would need an edit of the One Key and Peele skit where he's sweating, but he's been sweating so long he's losing the like fat content in his face.
Mm-hmm.
Oh god. Yeah, Photoshop that Photoshop that for me, wizard man.
More work.
I'm just kidding. All right.
Successful launch of this game and enough to basically keep the lights on over at Ubisoft. Now, predictably, I'm reporting today because there's even more controversy involving this game. Once again, more offensive things that are
offensive. Okay.
Offensive. Okay.
Well, it has to be pretty bad.
In Japan, because it appears that the people who are responsible for this game are not taking their feelings into consideration, and they're making some more offensive aspects of their game known to the public to the ire of Japanese gamers.
Can we pause?
Now, where do we begin? Well, we have to look
with the audience that we talk about with that's where we bring up Asmongold and that's where we bring up Rev. That's kind of a good thing, no? They don't care about the offense that some people online might take. They're releasing what they think is best for the game. They're actually not worrying about some artificial or some made-up culture war that their game seems to be entrenched in. And they're doing what they've always done, which is let you engage with holy sites in maybe a sacrilegious way, but this is a game and no one's being harmed. I mean, imagine if they took the same approach with Origins, the game I just finished, and like I couldn't climb the pyramids or enter into the pyramids because these are tombs of dead kings that Bayek would take very seriously. Like if he was acting in character, we probably wouldn't be exploring the pyramids for skill points, but I want to do that and that's fun and I like that. It's weird that you phrase it in such a bad way that they're being offensive when it's like, well, I would rather than be offensive than not put something in their game because they're worried about offense being taken. But I guess it really depends on the very offensive thing they're doing. If the offensive thing they're doing is calling Yasuke slurs, then
probably don't do that.
Probably remove that one. Look, if the offensive thing is they had Kanye voice Yasuke, I understand. Okay, I get it. But if it's not that...
They have Kanye voice every NPC that sees Yasuke.
Like, it's just every time Yasuke kills someone, it does the Animus thing where he's, like, confronting them. And it's just... And I'm not going to say the name of the race that he belonged to, the Doctor. He was a Templar.
Look at the desperate campaign by Assassin's Creed Shadows and Ubisoft over the past couple of weeks. Recently, as you can see from this...
To be fair, according to... Sorry, I don't mean to like keep pausing, but to be fair, with the with what you've like just laid out with your criticisms, kind of makes sense for them to be desperate, no? They're just reporting that their next corporate, they're just hoping to break even, and they've done many failures over... Like, you wouldn't fault them for being exactly desperate. In fact, it would be bad if they weren't, right? If they were just losing and tanking money and making shitty game after shitty game, and they were like, who fucking cares? Just make the next slop. Them getting desperate might be them getting whipped, getting that fire underneath their ass, like getting them moving. It's just weird to phrase desperation in a bad way when we're acknowledging they're on the downward slope. What do you want them to do? Fucking give up? Like just sell the company? Maybe that's what you want. You just want them to. You want Ubisoft not to exist because you think it's such a bad company, which I can kind of understand. And so you just want them to dissolve and fade into the wind and sell their properties off. But you got to expect them to go down fighting a little bit with their last game. What do you want them to do? Just fucking, we give up. We're not even going to release Shadows. Fuck it. I quit. Like, what do you want them to do?
I'd rather see the desperation, see them at least put up a valiant effort than just fucking not release another game. Like if it's going to be bad, at least put it out there. And if it's bad, let us, make fun of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Let it be a lesson to the next game studio.
Exactly.
If they're going to put this kind of stuff into it and it's going to be bad and be poorly done, let it be a lesson to the next game studio that tries to do it and see how monumental a failure it's going to be from a huge company.
It's that old adage, there's no such thing as a bad example. Just an example of how not to do something.
Yeah, 100%.
Okay.
And well, we have to look at the desperate campaign by Assassin's Creed Shadows and Ubisoft over the past couple of weeks. Recently, as you can see from this IGN article, they said this: Assassin's Creed Shadows players who largely ignore one of the dual protagonists won't be missing out much.
Okay, so a, sorry to cut you
No,
off,
no, you
but a
good.
big thing that me and Cosmos really like to do when we do these, if you guys watch any CRS, which maybe probably not, it's a channel where we go into a bunch of content and stuff of people talking about stuff. But a huge thing that is really big for us is these type, and we have a point system over there that we kind of lazily kind of went with, which was a big penalty is if you make a claim and the article you are referencing
Contradicts the
disproves you.
claim. It's bad for you.
It is so fucking bad.
And this is the other thing we do, which a lot of people watching YouTube videos don't do. If you cite an article, we read the article. And so, if you're looking on screen, I've already zoomed in and pulled up the article. We're going to read the article together. Okay? So, now, this could be very good for Rev or very bad. Well, what Loach and I like to do often, and we've already said this, but very good news for you, or that can be very bad news for you if you happen to lie, be a cheeky little liar, or just, the article you link goes against your original point. Are you ready to read through this, Loach? I see you muted.
Yeah, I was grabbing the article so you wouldn't hear the click clack in my keyboard.
Okay. Well, I'll let you get there. We're gonna start reading it. So, Assassin's Creed Shadows players won't be missing out if they largely ignore one protagonist. And we're gonna scroll down. I'm gonna zoom in a little bit. There you go. Okay. Ubisoft has assured that Assassin's Creed Shadows players who largely ignore one of the dual protagonists won't be, quote, missing out. Creative director Jonathan Dumont told Screen Rant, said Assassin's Creed Shadows won't force players to play as both the stealthy Naue and the brutish Yasuke in equal measure when it arrives March 20th, nor will it lock off certain parts of the game to those who prefer one over the other. I don't think you're missing out on things too much, Dumont said. I think it's more on your preference to say, okay, I'll see how the game will adapt a little bit to your character, or to the character, if you choose one over the other. They get individual instructions and they get their own quest line also. Let's say for Naue, a personal quest line can't be played by Yasuke, and those are two distinct things. But the core of the game can be pick your character and the game adapts. Naue has a playstyle reminiscent of the original Assassin's Creed games, or ironically, the most recent Assassin's Creed Mirage, which prioritizes stealth and encourages full combat only as a last resort. This is a stark difference to Yasuke, who emulates the more aggressive elements of the role-playing game Assassin's Creed entries, meaning Origins, Odyssey, and Valhalla. He charges head-on into battle instead of sticking to the shadows like Naue. We're not imposing players try to split the time. If you prefer one character for any reason, you can play maybe, I don't know, I'm not going to put up a percentage, but quite a bit of the game just using one of them. But if you want to balance it out, I play quite a bit balanced out, and as it happens, I play with one for 3, 4, 5 hours, and I switch, and then I just play 2, 3 hours. Usually I play stealth, and then I say, all right, let me destroy some camps and stuff, all right, for a while. And then I just change like that. So, hearing that article, that just sounds fantastic to me. I mean, just me personally. If you're not a big fan of the Origins or the RPG elements, here's your traditional stealth thing, and you're not going to be forced to play one or the other for a majority of time. If you only like one of these types of gameplays, if you're, like Asmongold said that he's probably going to play most of the game as Yasuke. Dumont is saying, the creator of the game is saying, more power to you. Go right ahead. And somehow this is being phrased as a bad thing.
Yeah, just a phrase like some sort of like desperation when, yeah, it is legitimately just him giving more options to the player base.
Like, I, and I'm not trying to go to bat for the game because, like I said, it hasn't come out yet, and I didn't enjoy Origins. Let's just say that. So if I could have switched, like, if I could have chose to switch to Aya at any time and actually do full classic Assassin's Creed stealth gameplay, that would be, I like that. I don't know. Like, it's weird that this is being like aside, or like this is some kind of like. I just don't understand how this is controversial. The creator of the game is saying you can play whichever character you want, for the most part.
I mean, and a thing to note is that I would much prefer if it was easier for us to just go along with what the commentary community is definitely saying with this game and just shitting on it. But I mean, we at least need to read the fucking articles, people.
Well, it's not even that. It's like listen, I understand we don't like Ubisoft because they haven't been making very good decisions when it comes to gameplay design or prioritizing microtransactions or profit over what can be considered fun. But when they do something good, you have to give them the W. Otherwise, what's the point? Like, if they're gonna get shit on for doing stuff that we've actually been asking for, and this is an again, I think this just comes to a this is the same problem we've been coming to, which I don't think Rev knows that this isn't the first game we've had with dual protagonists. You can watch, I think, like, last week is when I was streaming Syndicate, and one of my major criticisms of Syndicate is, I mean, we've already talked about it earlier on the video, but how you can't switch from one or the other during certain missions that seem to be focused for one type of playstyle. So Jacob gets certain combat skills that he can unlock. Evie gets certain stealth skills that only she can unlock. So you're encouraged in your skill tree to go combat for Jacob, stealth for Evie. The only and that's most of the time that feels great. You know, when you happen to get into a fight with Jacob, you're like, oh, you guys are fucked now. And when you happen to do a stealth mission as Evie, it's fucking easy mode. The problem is that sometimes near the end of the game, they'll just give stealth missions to Jacob and combat missions to Evie. Very fucking weird. And I think, if, except for the very character-specific missions, if I could switch between one player or the other, like, oh, this is a stealth mission, or this mission's easier if I go stealth, yeah, let me switch to that one. I think that would that would be a great mod for Syndicate. That was one of my only criticisms of the game. I really like the location and the parkour and most of the combat. If not the most, I'll say difficult, it was definitely the most. I don't even want to say. I just want to say almost comedic. Like, you beat the fucking shit out of them as Jacob and Evie. When you and Joseph were watching me stream, you guys were just like, "Oh my god, now talk, Batman head. What the fuck is going on?" What?
Just hitting people with the 25-piece combinations, yeah.
And then you end it by stabbing them 3 times. Like, you could have been done that, bro. Why? Why did you hit him so much? But big tangent aside, this is just this almost just feels like maliciously trying, like, almost you're trying to take this in a bad way. If you read the article and you're just going, oh yeah, he's saying you can kind of pick whatever character you want for the most part, your takeaway is that this is bad and desperate and like, you know what I mean? Why is this something that we're criticizing? There's things to criticize about the marketing and whether or not certain things have been sourced correctly and how that's been portrayed to the audience. But how is this bad?
Looking at it right now, I think Rev probably just headline read the tweet that they have on screen right now.
I don't think they read the article. Yeah, I'll agree with that.
Yeah, or if they read the article, they skimmed it. They didn't really pay attention too much, which I think is going to be probably a common theme we're going to find here pretty soon.
No,
but
you're right. As far as we know, we definitely haven't watched the first 4 minutes of this already, but as far as we know, this is just a classic misreading. It would be really awkward if, like, they, misquoted a question that they were being asked as something they said. That would just be no. That would never happen.
Come on. We'll get back to the video, but
all right.
Oh, we read all of this, right? There's not any more.
There's like a last paragraph, but that last paragraph is just like a lot is writing on Assassin's Creed Shadows because of the entry. Like we've gotten the necessary context. So all right, Rev. You tell us what the article says now that we've read it. You tell us what's going on.
Missing out much. So that is a very desperate measure. This entire game was formulated around Yasuke. Of course, there are dual protagonists in this game with Naoe.
The whole game was formulated. Also, I'm not sure if that's a correct word, but it could be. I don't know. But
glasses emoji.
Yeah. The main thing is just how do you know how the game was like formulated when you all you know is the marketing they've released. Like, do you have access to like developing leaks that show that at one point the when they started the marketing, their plan for the game was to only have Yasuke. Also, I don't know why you keep saying Yasuke, because it's just for someone who's doing the whole VTuber model and is like all weeby and trying to like be in support of like the Japanese audience that's really offended. You can't. It's not a hard name to pronounce, and it's been said a lot by the developers. It's pronounced fucking Yasuke. Watch Naruto, bro. But I first of all, phrasing this as a desperate measure, I just don't understand. And yeah, you don't know how it was originally formulated. I think perhaps what is more likely is that the plan was always to do a marketing run cycle with each of the characters. This is gonna like they show Yasuke. Here's one of our characters. Here's a gameplay trailer for one of our characters. Here's a story trailer for one of our characters. Now here's a gameplay trailer and a story trailer for the other one of our characters. That's why if you look on like Assassin's Creed trailer shadows, or if you look up Assassin's Creed Shadows trailer, you'll see story trailer 1, story trailer 2, gameplay trailer 1, gameplay trailer 2. I wonder what that could mean. But, you know, that's... anyway, it's just... we're already seeing a phrasing of this that's... they're almost phrasing it like this is a step back somehow, when surely they would understand that's not how games are made. Like, they can't fundamentally alter the game because of social media pushback to trailers they've got. You understand that, like, they've already built the engines and paid... Or not paid, but, like, hired the voice actors and mocapped the characters and animated and built the skill trees and coded all the.
So I went ahead and did a Google search, just checking on whether or not anything was released saying that Yasuke was originally planned to be like the main protagonist from the start.
Mm-hmm.
I found an article from January 27th. Let me send it over to you and we can look at it.
Okay. Ubisoft confirms Assassin's Creed Shadows initially had only one hero. Assassin's Creed Shadows will feature two main protagonists, the female shinobi Naoe and the samurai Yasuke. However, this wasn't always the case. According to creative director Jonathan Dumont, hey, he's back, the developers originally planned for just one character. When you say, let's make an Assassin's Creed in Japan, the first reflex is we need a ninja, right? The shinobi is such a one-for-one with an assassin. In early prototyping, as we're looking at other archetypes, we felt like we wanted to do a samurai as well because it's very iconic. No shit. So what you're telling me is that when they did initially plan for only one hero, they were more likely to go with Naoe than Yasuke. They wanted a shinobi ninja more than they wanted a samurai. But they were like, oh, I really want to do both, so let's do two heroes. And we're talking like early on in the development process.
Okay, keep going real quick.
In the initial version, the shinobi protagonist could don heavy armor to become stronger in combat and develop samurai abilities. However, the developers felt like the samurai archetype seemed incomplete and overshadowed by the primary character. Consequently, they decided to differentiate the styles and introduce the concept of two heroes. Oh, I need to zoom in a little bit because people can't. Oh. That is... Wow. And recently, plenty of fresh... Okay, blah, blah, blah. So, not only am I more right than I expected, because I was saying, no, they were, of course, always planning to do two, right? Of course. That turns out, no, I was wrong. They, very, very early on in the development process, they were like, oh, we're only going to do one hero. But their first reflex wasn't Yasuke because woke. It was, I don't know why I had that open the whole time. It was, we need a ninja. Their primary character, meaning probably the character they've developed more and they've done more work on, was Naoe. So your whole thing with the primary, like, it was very clear that their first hold on, let's just like, actually no, I think Rev can state it better than I can. Hold on.
But you can see from this IGN article, they said this: Assassin's Creed Shadows players who largely ignore one of the dual protagonists won't be missing out much. So that is a very desperate measure. This entire game was formulated around Yasuke. Of course, there are dual protagonists in this game with Naoe, but Yasuke was always the main focus until very recently.
Wrong. So just straight up wrong. You haven't done like basic. The funny thing is, we are quoting the exact same guy, Jonathan Dumont, which makes it almost more damning. If you don't like my source as Jonathan Dumont, then you shouldn't have used the source of Jonathan Dumont. So, being that he's a creative director, he stated their original plan was just to have a shinobi ninja. Then they decided they would like to add a samurai. Yasuke was the second thought. Yasuke was not the primary character. The entire game wasn't formulated around Yasuke. You're just wrong, and you're stupid. That's just rough.
Also the fact that it wasn't just Yasuke, it was just a samurai character.
Yeah, it wasn't even going to be, like, they didn't decide, oh, we really want to do Yasuke. They just, oh, we really want to do a samurai. And the original plan wasn't to add Yasuke in immediately. It was, let's just wear heavy armor and stuff, and he switches to samurai mode. But then people are like, why don't we just do 2 characters? And they're like, all right, who's a cool samurai from this time period? Oh, holy shit, Yasuke, that's kind of cool. That's probably what happened, bro.
I would also like Rev to know that I only Googled Assassin's Creed Shadows originally planned for only Yasuke, and this was the...
That's, well, that's just rough.
It was the 7th thing down, right under his Wikipedia article.
Okay, well, let's keep going. I would, they're digging at, how far are we into the video? 2 minutes and 30 seconds. This is record time hole digging. Let's keep going.
And saw some examples of banners on their website completely removing Yasuke 100% and focusing solely on Naoe. So,
okay,
where
pause.
is this coming from?
So, let's use Megamind here, okay? The game where you switch between both protagonists, and you can play them 50-50 or 80-90 or whatever ratio you want, but you can... The game where you can switch between 2 protagonists, you're telling me in the marketing, they switched the banners from one protagonist to another? What could they have... What could this mean?
What did Ubisoft mean by this?
I don't... No, this has to be desperation. It can't be that they're marketing both protagonists in equal amount.
I was about to say, it felt like to me Yasuke was getting a lot more attention like in the beginning,
and then now he's getting a lot more attention at the end. Yeah, and people reading that is like, that's a step back, that's weakness. Like, no, that was probably always the plan, bud. Like, this is the thing about like these people who probably have never just sat down and thought objectively about their position because they're so entrenched in the culture war. Rev, I want you to think for a second. Do you honestly think that by the time they're releasing marketing material, they have not fundamentally built at least like the core code of switching between protagonists and the skill trees and the gear and the animations, the voice actors, the mocaps, the storylines, the dialogue, the side quests in a massive game?
We're gonna take all of that, and then we're gonna have only Naoe, and then we're gonna have Naoe go to do a quest where she has to fight 5 different fishermen who are bullying a wife and child, and then whenever Naoe defeats them, the wife and child's gonna look at
and they go, "Thank you, Yasuke,"
and go, "Thank you for those powerful samurai swings, Naoe." Yeah.
It's gonna be that, like, bootstrapped in.
Yeah, just cut the Yasuke dialogue, but they leave everything else in.
Yeah, you even have like camera angles where you're looking at the 2 kids, but like the shadow is casted as a gigantic like samurai shadow, and then it cuts, and now it's just pasted.
The cutscene camera is up too high, so you only see like the forehead of Naoe because Yasuke is like 3 feet taller.
Yeah, but yeah, it's just like. Surely you understand that in game design they can't responsibly they can't code something in response. I think you're almost confusing this with like a TV show where that's almost maybe kind of a thing. Like you could very quickly in the writing or in the development phase maybe shift a certain character's importance to a higher standard because you see certain cultural responses. That's kind of like sometimes possible, but it's never done well because you still need time to develop and write these things. And you might have hired a character or hired an actor at a certain rate because you didn't think that character was going to be very important, and now they're elevated in importance and their acting isn't really up to snuff over time periods and blah blah blah. It's usually never been done well. But in a game, you have to fucking code shit. Like this isn't something that you can just like. I just imagine if Rev's in like the office as you're coding something and they're like, yeah, can you go ahead and just add a whole nother protagonist please for me? I'm gonna need all that dialogue, I'm gonna need all the quest lines, the animations.
Yeah, can you just remove this this integral character? And they turn around, they're like,
yeah, I'm gonna need that on my desk tomorrow, thank you.
No.
Yeah, I'll see you bright and early, 8 a.m.
No, you can't do that.
Try to have it done by the end of the day though, because I'm not paying you overtime. Anyway, I'll see you later.
From their interview with Screen Rant, where one of their higher ups.
Okay, interview from Screen Rant. Where?
No, you know what? Hold on. I almost want to let them cook because. Let's hear what they're saying. I want you to roll back 5 seconds. And let's hear how they're phrasing this. I'm really interested.
No, I think that's fair. Yeah, we kind of went too early on the last article. Let's give him a shot. Yeah. All right.
Moving Yasuke 100% and focusing solely on Naoe. So where is this coming from? Well, there was an interview with Screen Rant where one of their higher ups over at Assassin's Creed Shadows essentially said you can play 80 or 90% of the game while playing just as one of these two protagonists.
Rev,
a very desperate.
Rev, you said a higher up in Assassin's Creed Shadows essentially said good load bearing essentially, but you said essentially said, and then you quoted the question that Screen Rant said. That's a question that.
Rev, you need to look behind you. That's what Screen Rant said. That's not what Jonathan Dumont said.
Yeah. And in fact, what's the first answer that Jonathan Dumont says? I hate that question. Pick your children. All right. So hold on. What you're telling me is Jonathan Dumont in that last article, he says, hey, you can play as one game or the other. You can play as one protagonist or the other as much as you want, or you can go for a balanced approach. You can do whatever you want. Me personally, I go for balance, but if you just want to mostly play as one character or the other, besides the essential quest lines and the personal storylines, yeah, you can do whatever you want. Then Screen Rant asked, I think, in a pretty maliciously phrased way, and I know with Shadows, you said you can go through, I think you said either like 80 or 90% of the game playing just as one of them if you want to. But I'm curious, how much players will miss out on if they do that? And that's a sort of related question, if you have one you prefer to play as in the game. Jonathan Dumont says, I hate that question, alright? Just pick your children, alright? Okay. So I don't, and then he goes on. So, he said, you can play whichever one as much as you want or as little as you want. They go, or are you going to miss out on anything? And he goes, well, by the nature of having different protagonists, you won't miss out on like content, but yeah, there will be times where you'll have to play as one character or the other. But this is what I would say. I would assume that there would be certain lines of dialogue that Yasuke would say if you completed a mission, and certain lines of dialogue that Naoe would say. I would even wonder, and I think it'd be interesting if there are slight ending changes. Now I kind of doubt that, just because they're gonna have a certain ending for the game that's got to be canon. But it would be interesting as if you played through the game mostly killing a bunch of people as Yasuke, or Naoe only assassinating your target, if there was differences in how the two were perceived throughout Japan. Anyway, that's just me wishful thinking. I do think this is just completely fucking dishonest, Rev. You have misquoted a question they are being asked as something they said, and if you've done that to phrase something positive that they are doing in game design as something desperate. You're also misattributing their marketing campaign as like a step back from controversy rather than just a planned switch between protagonists you can switch from. Um, so you've been wrong. You've been completely like you've been wrong when it comes to the article, and maybe we attributed that to like you kind of skimming it or not really reading it fully or only reading the headline. You then connect your point to an article you have now you've read, at least because you read one of the quotes, but you misattributed the quote and said that was essentially what the Assassin's Creed creative director said when he outright refutes that and says you can play as balanced as you want or as 80-90 as you want. You are purposely rephrasing or contextually cutting or straight up misattributing quotes in order to push an agenda. You have become what you swear, like you have become what you swore to destroy. This is what we complain about in video games, that people with agendas and something that a cultural battle they want to win rather than just making good games. All we wanted was to be left alone, remember? We didn't want your fucking politics, right or left. We just wanted to play good games. Here you are doing it on the other side, except now they are telling you straight up good news about how the game is being designed. Hey, if you prefer one game play style over the other, play that. If you want to go for a balanced approach, play that. Do whatever you want, man. Have fun. And you are so caught up in your cultural battle, you are shitting on that because you have a battle to win. It's not about good games for you. You're just a gamer. You're just a game journalist on the other side. That's all you are. For all the shit we give game journalists who praise these woke games we don't like, you are misattributing and calling a game woke because it fits your agenda and your narrative, and you're lying to do it. If it was really that woke, you wouldn't have to lie. If it was really that bad, you wouldn't have to lie. You could just report on it honestly. And at this point, I am calling you a liar because there's only so much dishonesty. There's only so much inaccuracy before it gets to, well, you can be wrong a couple of times, but how come you're always wrong in one direction? How come whenever you misread an article or misattribute a quote, it always happens to land on one side of the political aisle versus the other? It's kind of the same thing we talk about when we talk about whenever there's some kind of fraud one way or the other, or some kind of, marketing scheme. It's always like, well, how come this accident always happens for this one group? And you can decide whichever group I'm talking about, left or right. That's the magic of the game. But yeah, Loach, I don't know what you have to say on this, but this is just. I think this is extremely dishonest, and this is what we were trying to fight against in our games back in the day with OG Gamergate.
I think in milking the holy sacred cash cow for long enough, I definitely think they're getting to the bottom of the barrel they're scraping through for trying to find criticisms of this game when, like, I feel like they just don't need to cover every single thing to try to scrape up any sort of controversy about it. Whenever they already had some, decent criticisms at the beginning, but now they're just like, it just feels like they're just trying to get whatever they can to get something over on it.
Well, yeah, and you're lying at this point. Like, it's just what. I don't know why people ever think this is going to be persuasive or effective, because when anyone who is on either side
most
trying
people
to be
don't
convinced,
read.
well, yeah,
Most
but
people aren't going to read the article that's on fucking screen. That fucking Rev didn't fucking read it either. They just presume that it's relevant information, that people are just going to look at it and see the 80 or 90%, and they're going to go, well, Rev must have read the fucking article.
All right, let's keep going.
Desperate measure, they're trying to say, look, if you hate literally half of this game's foundation, that's okay, because you can pretty much get through most of the gameplay while ignoring Yasuke. What a change up from, the legendary samurai that you have to love to, well, he's basically a background character and you can ignore him as much as you want for about 90% of the game. But of course,
okay, hold on.
We'll reiterate here. This is the question from Screen Rant. not Jonathan Dumont.
Also,
Rev-
also, why do you assume when they say you can play 80 or 90% of the game, you assume that relegates Yasuke to a side character? Wouldn't the same thing happen with Naoe? Like, why? Like, you assume if like it's just isn't that just kind of a it's one of those Freudian slips where they say, yeah, if you don't like one of the playstyles or you prefer one of the playstyles over the other, you can basically play 80 or 90% of the game as the playstyle you prefer. And you go, well, look at them relegating Yasuke to a side character. It's like, why would you assume that most people are not going to play Yasuke? You know, the 3 most popular Assassin's Creed games of all time are all the RPG games that Yasuke more closely resembles. Why are you assuming that people aren't gonna play as like? Surely it can go one or the other, whichever one you might prefer, or it could be balanced. But and also, that's not how it fucking works. Again, this isn't how the game design works. Yasuke, even if you don't play him as much, he's not going to be relegated to a side character. He's still going to be plot important. In fact, I'm pretty sure it's going to be implied that both Yasuke and Naoe are doing these things at the same time. You're just choosing to play as one of the actors here. Like, use your fucking head, dude. What the fuck are you talking about? You're misattributing a quote, and then not only are you misattributing the quote to the wrong person, but you misunderstand the quote. The quote isn't saying, well, now Yasuke is only in 10% of the game. We've cut all of his dialogue. They're saying, yeah, if you don't like the whole hack and slash samurai thing, you can play most of the games that way if you want, except for like story relevant stuff. Hey, I bet that story relevant stuff is going to be pretty fucking important in terms of like, you know, like I'm pretty sure if you don't play most of the game as Yasuke, when you do Yasuke's story missions, he's not going to just like be fucking poorly animated and a background character now with like 2 lines of dialogue. I'm pretty sure he's still going to be important in the character missions you play him as, even if you choose not to play him. But here's the thing, I'm probably going to be switching pretty frequently. Probably whatever helps me get through the mission, because I'm going to be playing on like the hardest difficulty. So if I find a mission where it's easier to play stealthy, I'll probably play Naoe. If I find a mission that's easier to play combat heavy, I'll probably play Yasuke. Because I don't really care about the superficial stuff like gender and race. That just doesn't really bother me. I'm here for the gameplay, baby. Alright, let's keep going, I guess.
Of course, you have to play him at some level to complete this game. Now, there's even some more interesting news coming out regarding this game. So you can see from Insider Gaming here, exclusive, Ubisoft is confident on releasing Assassin's Creed Shadows on March 20th, 2025. That's a little alarming, right? It's like almost shows insecurity. Like, why are they like coming out and saying, "Don't worry, we'll release it on time this go around"? Like,
why would it be insecure for them to say that? I mean, first of all, it'd be really fucking awkward if there were like rumors of them canceling, and so they were coming out to quell the rumors. But also, they've delayed a couple times. I do think it would be reasonable for someone to ask, and then they would go, "No, we're good," and then you go, "What an odd thing to say." How's it insecure for them to go, "Nope, we're good. We're gonna release on time"? But you know, maybe you're right. Maybe they said that completely unprompted, and that would be weird. If they said it completely unprompted, I agree. That might be strange.
I mean, didn't it already get delayed though?
It's been delayed twice.
So, like, wouldn't this be just more like a reassuring to the people who...
Oh, yeah, if you're a reasonable person, maybe, and you're not just, like, kind of trying to cut everything apart with a certain agenda knife. But, yeah, I'm trying to be as best faith as possible. So even if they've delayed twice, sure, if no one asked them anything and they said it unprompted, fine. Right? Okay.
Yeah, could be kind of suspect at that point. Yeah,
sure.
No, I see what you're saying.
But if there were rumors or they were directly asked, then it would be really fucking weird for you to call it insecure for them to answer a question they were asked. That'd be fucking... But, who knows? Who knows, right? Let's see.
Like, yeah, you're supposed to be, like, honoring your word here, but some people rumored at a possible additional delay. There's no proof of that yet.
What?
But
Hold on.
This is a little bit of an odd...
So some people were rumoring it. You just said it. So they came out to answer the rumors and reassure people that the rumors were false.
Man, isn't it so weird that they substantiated these bizarre rumors?
What I so so you're saying it's insecure and odd and curious, but you acknowledge there are rumors that it was getting delayed. So there are rumors it's getting delayed. They go, nope, not getting delayed, and you're going, curious. Why would you say that? Probably because they were fucking rumor. What? If there were rumors that you were a serial killer and it was really like gaining some traction, and you came out and said, "Yeah, I don't know why there are rumors that I'm a serial killer, not a serial killer," and then people
That's
are like,
what the imposter would
"That's what,
say.
that's it. You're looking at a little sus."
Yeah, that the imposter would tell me he's not the imposter.
Okay, let's keep going.
Oh, roll it back.
Supposed to be like honoring your word here, but some people rumored at a possible additional delay. There's no proof of that yet, but this is a little bit of an odd statement coming out of Ubisoft. Now, one of the reasons they say they're so confident
Pause.
about this.
Enhance. Okay, so now we've cut them at the perfect time. They said one of the reasons they're so confident that they're not going to cancel is. So let's read the article here, and it might be too small for you to see, viewer. And I'm not going to pull up the original article. I might like zoom in for you here, but
Well, I will say the main reason we're not pulling up the article is because Rev hasn't linked any of these articles in their description, so I have to manually fucking find them if we have to, and I don't want to go through all the fucking insider gaming stuff. I'm gonna be real.
so here we go. Now we've cut them at the perfect time. They're about to tell you why they're confident. Well, let's read what the article says. Insider gaming sources have said that the publisher and the developers are now confident that Assassin's Creed Shadows will launch on March 20th, 2025. Of course, never say never of another delay, but Ubisoft has made preparations to increase its marketing of Assassin's Creed Shadows ahead of its March 20th, 2025 launch, including finalizing the embargo date for the game's review. The reviews will be live on March 18th, 2025. Speaking with several developers working on the game, they said that they felt confident that it will be ready for the March release date, with one source stating that the game is now pretty much done. Okay, well, that's pretty cut and dry, isn't it? The reason they're confident that it's not going to get delayed is because one source stated that the game is pretty much done. Oh, hold on. Sorry, there's a whole new paragraph. Let's see what this whole new paragraph has to say and see if this is anything related to what has just been said. As mentioned during Ubisoft's latest earnings call, Shadows is currently on par with that of Assassin's Creed Assassin's Creed Odyssey in terms of its pre-order numbers. Early previews have been positive, praising its narrative and immersive experience, with both characters playing critical roles in the game's storyline. Oh, hey, remember when they were saying that they were going to relegate Yasuke to a side character because you're only going to play him 80 or 90%? It seems no matter what, they're both going to be playing critical roles in the game's storyline, so that was fucking wrong. Thanks for citing...
Well, no, but he's a side character now.
Okay.
Maybe the Ubisoft team just hadn't got that memo yet.
Yeah, they're going to patch that out anytime now.
Yeah, they're gonna patch it up before release.
Yeah. As well as the quality complementarity of the gameplay provided by the dual protagonist approach, Guillemot said in the most recent earnings call. So, hey, you know what's strange? That doesn't have anything to do with why they're confident on the release. You notice they never said, and that's why we're confident. You know, in fact, the only time they acknowledged why they were feeling confident is because they said the game was pretty much done.
Actually, then if we look at that, then the next paragraph is only referring to the previous one before it when it comes to like the pre-order numbers.
Yeah.
So it seems like the first bit of stuff there was like referring to one thing,
and now we're on the numbers.
Yeah, now they're getting into the numbers. So like these are two like wholly separated things that they're talking about.
And you know what? Maybe Rev will read through this and we'll get a little bit more context. So remember, we paused them at the reason why they're so confident. Now, of course, we've read it. The reason they're so confident is because the game's almost done. Right, Rev?
It's quoted right there.
Yeah, right, Rev? That's going to be the reason they're so confident. Right, Rev?
Is because of the pre-order sales.
Oh, wait! Huh? Where? But why? When did they say that?
Scrolls down. Scrolls past it.
So, hold on. When asked why they're confident, you're not going to read them saying because they feel like the game is done. You're going to go to a different... The last part of the article that's mentioning how successful it's doing. Now, here's just the funny thing. They're going to mention and this is just humorous. This is I'm a funny little guy. Let's read that last little paragraph now that we can see. At the time of writing, Shadows currently has around 300,000 pre-orders, said sources, and Odyssey's day one player numbers were between 400 to 450,000, a gap of around 100 to 150,000 that needs to be made up in the next 4 weeks. Now that's a pretty negative way of phrasing that. Let me just clarify for anyone at home. The game is not out yet, and there are 300,000 people that have already pre-ordered the game.
Well, that's a good question though. How many pre-orders did Odyssey have?
Odyssey, we don't. Well, here's the funny thing, because they're not comparing pre-orders to pre-orders, even though they say Shadows is currently on par with that of Assassin's Creed Odyssey in terms of pre-order numbers. This is actually not correct of the article, because they're not comparing pre-order numbers to pre-order numbers. They're comparing pre-order numbers to day one player numbers.
Those are way different things.
Way different things. So just to get this 100% straight, Odyssey is Assassin's Creed's second best-selling game of all time that sold 10 million copies, and we're gonna play it later tonight. Shadows is 100,000 away from its day one numbers before the game is out. Now, what's funny is Rev is going to give us a number for what it would have to take for Shadows to be successful. The number is going to be 10 million. So, just to clarify, Shadows has 100,000 less than the day one player numbers of a game that sold 10 million copies before the game is out, and you think this is bad news. Now, for anyone who's feeling adventurous, I want you to Google the day one player numbers for the most successful Assassin's Creed game of all time, Assassin's Creed Valhalla. It made $1 billion. There were 3,600 people playing day one. The reason it made so much money is because it sold enough copies through success in marketing, even though the day one numbers were, about like pretty average or middling for a pretty big commercial release, and it picked up steam, and through microtransactions and DLCs and stuff, they made $1 billion with a B dollars. So before Shadows is released, it's got pre-order numbers that excel the most successful Assassin's Creed game of all time's day one numbers. And you're trying to tell me that the game won't break 10 million. I just think you're wrong. And I think you're going to eat those words. That's what I think. I think if the game doesn't do 15 to 20 million, I will be shocked. Based on these pre-order numbers, these are insane pre-order numbers. This is probably one of the most hyped and anticipated Assassin's Creed games of all time. Since I can remember, people have been wanting an Assassin's Creed in Japan where you can be a ninja. People are going to come back to Assassin's Creed to play this. They just will. I know people personally that have not played the last 4 Assassin's Creed games that will pick this game up because they're interested. My older brother, who is the normiest of normies, wants to get his PlayStation 5 fixed so he can play Assassin's Creed Shadows. He hasn't played Assassin's Creed since Assassin's Creed 2. This game is going to do fucking numbers, and you're going to be embarrassed, bro. I'm telling you. And you're reading the article in front of you that's saying they have 300,000 pre-orders before the game is released, and they've delayed twice. A game that's delayed twice has still generated enough hype to get 300,000 people to spend $80 on a game they can't play. Like, what are you fucking talking about? Do you understand how much hype that has to generate? When you delay a game once, your pre-order numbers are going to go down catastrophically because people lose faith.
Yeah, I just think I was trying to Google and I was trying to get the numbers right now, trying to see how many day one players Odyssey had. Like, do we have that or no?
Well, what it's saying is Odyssey's day one player numbers were between 400 and 450,000. That's what this is what this article that Rev is basing their argument off of. So, like, we could actually their source, but even using their argument, this is This is not good for your argument. I don't know why you would cite this. Shadows is within 100,000 players of the second most successful Assassin's Creed game of all time that sold 10 million copies, and you yourself has set the metric for success for this game at 10 million copies. And I don't know why you think that is going to be hard for them to do. I'm genuinely baffled. I do not get it. How you think 10 million people aren't going to buy this game? At least, you're crazy, man. I don't fucking get it. When's the last? I mean, we can look it up. Hold on. I'll actually hold on. So I think there's an image here. This is like a thumbnail, but yeah, we can see Valhalla sold 19 million units, and the thumbnail fucking covers it up. But also that's like a fan-made thing. Here's this. Oh god, fucking damn it. Whatever. First week sales. So this is just in the first week, and this is, I think, pretty reputable. And this is actually pretty interesting. So Valhalla, Mirage is at 1.5 and Odyssey is at 1.4. In the first week, the most successful game in terms of the first week sales is Assassin's Creed 3. But Valhalla, Odyssey, and Origins all are at about 1.4, 1.5 to 2 million in the first week. And they all ended up selling 10 million, 15 million, 20 million. So if you think about this, 4 weeks before release, they're at 300,000 pre-orders. In a game where as long as they're at the 1.4, 1.5 million threshold in the first week, they're probably going to sell at least 10 million copies.
Yeah, so it seems like they're on pretty decent pace.
All right,
and that's included with the delays, which is gonna knock off some of the pre-orders.
And I don't want to skate right past this. We're just gonna acknowledge that they just lied, right? Like, they said, now why are they saying they're confident on release? We have the article right here. You can read it. It says they're confident because the game is pretty much done, and they say because of the pre-order numbers. I wonder if they're going to spin this as them being greedy.
At the time of writing, Shadows currently has around 300,000 pre-orders, said sources, and Odyssey's day one player numbers were between 400 to 450,000, a gap of around 100 to 150,000 that needs to be made up over the next 4 weeks. So there is a report out there that Shadows has about 300,000 pre-orders, which, again, you have to view this in the context of what this franchise is and how many units they're going to have to sell to turn a profit. And
so we've explored the context now. So just, Rev, to ease your mind, we did explore that context. 300,000 pre-orders is absolutely fucking insane. Incredible numbers. So we've explored the context. We've looked at first week sales. We've looked at the most successful Assassin's Creed games of all time. We've looked at their day one numbers. This is really good. Valhalla is the most successful Assassin's Creed game of all time in terms of total money made, and they only had about 3,600 to 4,000 people playing on day one. Shadows has nearly 10 times that, just in terms of pre-order numbers. Well,
that's pre-order versus day one, right?
Yeah.
Like how many pre-orders did Valhalla have?
A good question, Shrek Meme. How many pre-orders?
Because if the article is going to be comparing apples to oranges, let's compare fucking apples to apples.
Valhalla sold more copies during its first week of release than any other Assassin's Creed game. Well, I thought we just looked it up and saw that 3 sold more in the first week.
I'm seeing the exact amount of pre-orders has not been disclosed.
So, this Wikipedia article is saying that Valhalla sold more copies during its first week of release than any other Assassin's Creed game, even though we looked up on that other thing and it said 3 was. But whichever you want to look at, well, what we can look at is the PlayStation 4 version sold 45,000 copies within its first week on sale in Japan. So, this is really interesting. That's super interesting. So, one of the big selling points of why Shadows isn't going to do well is because it's really offended the Japanese audience. In the first week, Valhalla sold 45,000 copies in Japan. Okay, let's delete that. In terms of, let's say no one in Japan buys a game about Assassin's Creed in Japan, which I just don't fucking buy, but let's say no one does. We have 300,000 pre-orders. Japan, in its first week, only bought 45,000 of the 2 million copies that Valhalla sold in its first week. I'm going to be honest, don't think Ubisoft gives a shit if 0 people in Japan buy it, which I just don't think is likely. I think we'll get more people from Japan that buy the game in the first week than 45,000. I bet you we will. I just bet you we fucking will. I guarantee you there's more people that will care that they get to run around and swing around as Nasuke, as Nawe. I combined their names. As Nawe in Edo period Japan, or whenever Oda Nobunaga is. I guarantee they're just really not going to care that much about Yasuke. And there are Japanese people that think Yasuke is cool. So, I don't know. I think you're going to be surprised. I think you're citing numbers that actually make your prediction look not as realistic. And I think I'm based off these numbers, based on everything we've compared them to, I think Shadows will do either about as good as Valhalla or maybe even better. I'm gonna go ahead and put my hat on that. And if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. I don't know the game yet. The game might be dog shit. Who knows? But based on the numbers you've shown me.
So from what you just said so far, that would mean Japan would account for less than 2% of the first week's sales.
Yeah. So 2% is big. 2% is a big percentage. I wouldn't scoff at 2%, but let's be real. If you think that that's going to contribute to the failure of a game, if we're riding on a 2% margin, we were already fucked.
Yeah. If 2% was the make or break point on like killing Ubisoft, this game was cool. Wallahi.
Yeah. All right. Well, so again, I really don't want to glaze over this. They have again misattributed or misread the article to support their agenda because, again,
yeah, but blatantly did not skimmed over the first part, did not read the entire the paragraph that tells at the very last sentence what the reasoning is, and then completely skips over the shifting conversation and goes directly to the last the bottom of the thing.
Then reads numbers that are very optimistic for Shadows and chooses to interpret them as negative because you don't get it. And your source is, well, when you consider the franchise this is in and the context, which if you actually do what you are saying, it makes the game look like it's going to do fucking crazy numbers. But you are actually using that because you don't actually want to explain your thought process. So you're going, well, if you consider the context of the game, that's actually really bad. Even though in truth, if you consider the context of the franchise, this is insanely good. This is just a lie. You just lie.
You're just you as someone who's inexperienced with the topic is talking about it to other people inexperienced with the topic. So you're painting the narrative by just saying this thing is negative.
And that's your whole argument. Look at these really good numbers. This is actually really bad.
Right. Yeah, because you're not going in and looking at the frame of reference that's from.
Yeah, you won't show us first week sales. You won't actually go and look that up, will you? All right, yeah, I guess moving on.
Keep things going for Ubisoft. Like, make no mistake, if this game underperforms, Ubisoft is cooked. So 300,000.
That is true. That is true. 100%. Yeah.
100%. That's why we're making the jokes that the CEO of Ubisoft is like smoking a cigarette with a shaky hand every fucking morning. That's his dinner.
Yeah, that guy's dinner and breakfast is a fucking Marlboro cigarette.
Yeah, menthol.
Yeah, no, it's a Marlboro in the morning and it's a menthol in the evening to relax.
And he's French, so he goes out into the balcony and considers jumping from it, but he's only 32 feet off the ground. He'll just break an ankle.
If I jump off this building, I'll land in the piss puddles out there.
Alright, let's keep going.
Pre-orders is not exactly setting the world on fire, and the fact that there is a pretty big gap between that and Odyssey, which was a success.
Now talking about pre-orders, read the fucking screen.
But it's so funny because they go 300,000 pre-orders is not exactly setting the world on fire, especially when you compare it to a game that is a success, and you go, oh, so Odyssey, you consider that a success? It sold 10 million copies. Okay, cool. So reading the article again, you consider Odyssey a success. Shadows is 150,000 underneath the day one player sales. before the game's out. You understand at this point they only need to sell 100,000 copies day one in order, by your metric, to be on par with a successful game, and selling 10 million copies will be enough to keep them afloat, according to you. So here, the most hyped Assassin's Creed game in 25 years being set in Japan only needs to do 150,000 sales day one. That's
to be on par with a really really high success.
Yeah. And now this is what's funny. Remember when we were scoffing at that 2%? Suddenly 45,000 people in Japan that bought Valhalla in the first week becomes really fucking relevant, because are we really going to gamble and say that less people are going to buy the game about their country than Valhalla? Are we that confident they hate Yasuke that much? 45,000 people in Japan bought Valhalla in the week one. We only need to 2x that in their country's game.
Yeah.
If we get 100,000 people from Japan in day one, you're fucked. You're absolutely cooked. All we need is 100,000 Japanese people to buy the game day one, and we're on par with Odyssey. Do you not fucking comprehend how easy that is going to be?
You don't even understand how many Indians we could get,
dude.
And then we win instantly.
I just don't. That would be really funny if they did like Assassin's Creed Bombay, and it was like set in India.
For 1.3 billion sales.
Dude, yeah, because India, we can talk as much shit about Indians and certain things we don't like about their culture, like the fact they shit in the street. I think that's whack and weird. Did you know that, like,
it's all getting cut out?
No, this isn't getting cut out. It's a quick tangent. Quick tangent.
It's all getting cut.
No, listen, quick tangent. Did you know that they recently had a bathing festival and people died during it? Anyway.
Did you see the article where it was one of the like Indian officials was like, drinking from the river here is perfectly fine, and then he takes a drink and then he gets immediately hospitalized with like super malaria.
Yeah, but okay, so I don't think, Rev, I just don't think you understand. I don't think you get how good this looks for Ubisoft. I'm gonna be honest. My hand's shaking a little bit less when I smoke that cigarette in the morning in France. If I see that, if someone broke down this math to me and was like, Wim out, all we need is 100,000 Japanese people to buy it to day one, and we're on par with Odyssey. And like, I'm like hitting a drag. I'm like, oh, what? Only 100,000? But 45,000 people bought the Valhalla, and who the fuck cares about Nordic people? I know, right? We might not be cooked. Sir, it is possible. Do you believe?
I am starting to believe.
It's that Mo meme where he like looks at the noose he's tied. Not today, old friend. Alright, let's keep going.
Isn't the most faith-inducing set of facts here.
Well, if you have bad
right
faith,
now,
it's
right?
really hard to induce it.
Looking at this data, if Shadows continues the same trajectory as Odyssey, it's estimated the game could sell approximately 3.5 million units in its first month. Valhalla, which was the series' most successful Assassin's Creed game, had some 8 million players in its first month, with more than 65% being attributed to past generation consoles at the time. So Assassin's Creed Shadows is in a very tough spot right now.
You know, it's really funny. We have officially passed where we were when we decided to record this. We're in uncharted territory from here on out. Now you're going to get our genuine first reactions. And again, we didn't read this last part of the article because they didn't scroll down by the time we decided we had to read this. Buddy, looking at just it's so funny.
No, I haven't read this yet. Hold on.
What's funny is this is not Ubisoft. This is just a third-party insider gaming article. But they're saying, In comparison, Star Wars Outlaws, a game that failed to meet Ubisoft's expectations, had less than half the pre-order Shadows currently had in the same time period before launch, it was said. Looking at the data, if Shadows continues the same trajectory as Odyssey throughout that launch, it's estimated that the game could sell approximately 3.5 million units in its first month. Valhalla, which was the series' most successful Assassin's Creed game, has about 8 million players in its first month, which more than 65% being attributed to past generation consoles at the time, because Valhalla released on like 360 and One. So one, that's just Insider Gaming's like math based on pre-order sales, which I think they will do much better. But let's just think about this for a second.
This is lowball. This is lowball.
This is lowballing. All they need is to sell 10 million copies, period, to be successful. And right now, based on the trajectory, they're going to get 3.5 in the first month. And you think this is bad news for them? Like,
well, you see, after the first month, the sales are going to plummet to 0.
Yeah, like, this is the thing. Because you got to remember, in the first month, Valhalla only sold 8 million. Then they got to 20 million in the lifetime of the sale of the, you know, like, of them recording that and posting it and it being marketable for them. Because now, who knows if they've sold more than that based on new people buying the game, but now they're not really keeping track of that in terms of reporting it. So let's just think about this for a second. They only need to get to 10 million, and they're going to be done with 3.5 within the first month. Valhalla, the most successful game of all time, got 8 million, or the most successful Assassin's Creed game of all time, got 8 million in the first month. So if we're comparing it to the absolute peakest of peaks, it doesn't sound that great. But when you consider, according to you, we only need 10 million. Trevor, if you had to get $10 million, or not even 10 million, 10 million sales in a year, and in your first month, you got 3.5 million, and someone tried to be like, that's not looking great for you, what would you call them?
I would tell them to shut the fuck up and they're a fucking dumbass.
Yeah.
IMO.
Yeah. If I need to make 10 million sales in a year and my first month I'm at 3.5, I'm feeling fucking... I'm blowing 10,000 on hookers and cocaine tonight. What are you talking about? We're doing great. What do you mean?
Yeah, I'm gonna be a bit frugal. We're gonna see how month 2 goes. If month 2 gets me a cool meal, then who cares?
Yeah, because I could get 1 million a month for the rest of the year and I'll be fine.
Yeah.
That's how math works. If I just add 11 million to my 3.5, I'm at 14.5 million. I'm chilling. Alright, let's keep going.
Even 3.5 million units in the first month, it's not enough. They have to keep going, and oddly enough, that 3.5 million units...
It's just Connor from AC3. It is not enough. It is not
enough.
It is not enough, Father.
Father, it is not enough.
Bro, where are you pulling these numbers from? 3.5 million the first month, and all they need is 10 million to be successful. Are you on coke?
Rev just heard what I said. You know, all the sales are gonna stop after month 1. 3 million,
True.
3.5 million is not enough.
3.5 million to 0.
It's 0 immediately.
Okay.
Everyone's gonna refund their game.
All right. Okay, let's keep going.
Ubisoft were even 3.5 million units in the first month, it's not enough. They have to keep going, and oddly enough, that 3.5 million units in the first month was kind of close to what the predictions were for some other games in the field, but for Creed, they got to do a lot more than that, and
yeah, and the one you're referencing is up there in right above it in the paragraph, which it's saying that it has nearly double the amount of pre-orders as that game.
Yeah, you're comparing it to Outlaws, which is, funnily enough, like, Star Wars is a big IP, but it wasn't exactly doing great in recent memory. Assassin's Creed is... Ubisoft is not doing good in terms of the public consciousness, but in terms of, like, Assassin's Creed success, it's following 3 very successful games. Mirage was, like, the stinker recently, and it was a very short game. It was basically like a side-in-between game. It's not the same as what we're doing with Shadows. Shadows is going to be a main release, just like Origins, Odyssey, and Valhalla.
Yeah, I was about to say, so from like everything you've shown up from all the numbers we've seen so far, like all of the mainline Assassin's Creeds that have been recent have been have done gangbusters.
Yeah, Like, this is the problem. I don't even really like the RPG mechanics. I can't deny that Ubisoft has had their most successful run with these 3 games, like, since 2011. Like, so this idea that, like, well, they're not quite stacking up to the GOATs. Like, you understand if they reach for the stars and they miss, they still shoot for the moon. Like, if whatever the fuck the phrase. If they shoot for the moon and miss, they're gonna still hit the stars, right? Like, even if they don't get Valhalla's numbers, they don't need Valhalla's numbers to be a success right now. But I bet you... But here's the thing, and this is what frustrates me the most. If the game did do Valhalla's numbers, you're not going to make a video called I Was Wrong. You're not going to do that. You're going to be on the next thing. You're going to be on the next woke cringe game.
Yeah, you're gonna make 4 videos talking about how some avowed dev is DEI and defending it because they're having a Twitter meltdown.
Also, nobody calls it Creed. This is how I know you're a fake fan and you haven't played a single Assassin's Creed game in your life. No Assassin's Creed fan calls the games like for a Creed game. No one does that. In fact,
also,
you know how we shorten it? We say AC for an AC game.
Also, just to get rid of this easy blurry news because I made an Avowed joke about you farming for content. Not a fan of Avowed. Can't say I'm for that either. Not a DEI fan either. So you can't say I'm one of those people. Nah, buddy, we're just making fun of you because you're
wrong.
You're like hyper bad faith and wrong, and don't read the articles that you post about.
And don't play the games that you're talking about. Like, you're talking about Assassin's Creed, and I just know you haven't played a single Assassin's Creed game. Well, Cosmos, you're kind of appealing to the fact that you might have played those games. I want you to hit the live tab on this channel. I just want you to check it out.
And check some of it out, please.
Please. But yeah, see the wall of Assassin's Creed. I've been playing these games recently in a row, and this isn't for the first time. Most of these games I've played, I think like Rogue and Liberation were games I hadn't played yet, and I just played Origins for the first time because I skipped over that one. I've played Odyssey before. We're gonna play Odyssey again. The thumbnail's gonna be CJ. Oh shit, here we go again. But yeah, I played Odyssey before. We're gonna play it. We're gonna see what it is. I haven't played Valhalla before. We'll actually have to like buy that game, but you know, as long as we get $12.50, shouldn't be that hard.
I just know that if Rev checked this out, that'd be one of the first things he would try to point to, that is trying to discredit us on that. I just wanna immediately just hit a fuck you. No, you don't get off that easy.
Yeah, not only have I played the series that we're talking about recently and in depth, going through all of the main stories. I haven't been playing all the DLCs. You got me there, but all the main story missions I've played through, all the way up to Odyssey in like the past month and a half. It's very recent and fresh in my mind. So I'm ready for you to say historically inaccurate. Please say that argument in this video. I'm fucking waiting. I have an edit. I've got 5. I'm like Kendrick. I've got like 3 diss tracks waiting on you to call it historically inaccurate.
2, 3, 4, 5 plus 5.
I got 1,000. I'm like Oda. I got 1,000 plus laying in this out. But I'm gonna take the illa route.
Just ready, waiting.
Fucking.
There's some other news coming out that is quite concerning to say the least. So, Assassin's Creed today, just hours before recording, we're showing this off on their Twitter account, and the timing of this couldn't be worse. So it's the environmental destruction preview here, right? They're showing off these destructible environments.
That's cool. Just without any other context.
Oh yeah.
I can destroy combat, and like I don't know if you saw, but when we sliced those doors open, there were slashes from where we cut with our samurai sword.
Yeah, no, I like that.
That's pretty fucking neat. I can't
That'd be really cool to do like an assassination through the wall.
Through the wall, yeah. Wouldn't that be fucking dope? You yanked them through the paper wall and fucking killed them. That'd be sick. That'd be fucking cool. I can't wait for them to spin this in a bad way. Okay.
And there's some other news coming out that is quite concerning to say the least.
This is concerning.
So,
okay.
Assassin's Creed today, just hours before recording, we're showing this off on their Twitter account, and the timing of this couldn't be worse. So it's the environmental destruction preview here, right? They're showing off these destructible environments, including shrines in the game that are based on real-life Japanese shrines. And that is a very hot topic in Japan, not just now, but historically, when it comes to video games and these shrines being represented, and whether or not you can destroy or deface them.
Gotcha. Okay, let me give you my take. I don't fucking care about that. That's retarded. We're playing a video game. I'm murdering people, right? You think it's concerning that you're allowed to damage video game shrines? Buddy, you can explore the pyramids of Egypt for skill points in Origins as a Medjay. No one fucking cares, man. You're talking to the wrong franchise. We are using historical settings for fun. That's the whole point. And if you're gonna get mad or butthurt about it, I don't care about your opinion. And I thought this was kind of the standard we had, which was as long as it was fun and we're gaming and we're not harming anyone, why does it matter when it comes to real world sacredness or real world politics? Why the fuck would we care? Again, you fist fight the Pope underneath the Sistine Chapel. That could be considered pretty fucking sacred and profane to like be hurting a Pope underneath the Sistine Chapel. That could be pretty fucking, offensive. But they did it because it was a story to be told, and they thought it was fun, and they thought it was interesting and cool, and it was. It's awesome.
Well, also, you fucking know that if the Assassin's Creed with Arno came out and you were climbing up those fucking chapels and like cathedrals and stuff, like if that game came out today, nothing would be said about how like disrespectful that is to that whole thing.
Yeah, you can climb in. You assassinate a target inside the Notre Dame. And this is a French company that did that, by the way. They made the Notre Dame a fucking either a Templar or an assassin like secret hideout. Like you kill your mentor on top of the Notre Dame, and they're a French company. You don't think like that's something that occurred to them, but they're like, well, no, this is a video game. We're having fun. It's harmless.
No. Well, here's the thing, Cosmos. The thing you got to remember is Rev's gonna say, well, they're a French company, so they get to do that. They would need to have Japanese people on their staff to be able to make commentary. Oh wait, wouldn't that be DEI though?
Well, that would be DEI, and also I don't know if you're aware, but every time you launch an Assassin's Creed game, it says this team was produced by a multicultural team of varied beliefs, genders, and ethnicities. None of this is meant to harm or offend anyone. This is just when we launch Odyssey, it'll say the same shit. They have been giving this little tagline forever because they understand they are covering sensitive topics in history, but we're just trying to have fun and play a video game. Rev, I don't know if you're fucking aware. In the first game, you're fighting as an assassin during the Third Crusade, who is killing Templar leaders. So I'm a Christian. And I am generally of the belief that the Crusades were 100% justified fucking at me. Part of that means that there are characters and historical figures that you assassinate as Altair that I know of in history and I think to be generally pretty good men. You know how offended I was when I stabbed them in the back with my hidden blade? Not even a little bit. I went, gotcha, and fucking went on to the next target. I didn't care because I'm playing a video game. I'm just trying to have fun. I'm much more interested in the gameplay mechanics and how fun it feels to climb around and sneak into places and watch guard patrols and get around their range and maybe try to only kill my target or kill as few people besides my target as possible. You know how little I give a fuck about, oh, well, the real world people, are they going to get offended that I'm walking in their holy city? I don't fucking care. I do not care. It's a video game. No one is being harmed. Let me have my fun. Isn't this what we were talking about with Gamergate? Just leave me alone and let me play my video games?
Well, also, like, if we had an Assassin's Creed that takes place in China, would you be getting mad if we were allowed to go around the Forbidden City? Like, are you gonna bat for China on that one, or are you gonna bat for Assassin's Creed on that one because you don't like the Chinese censorship, or like, are you gonna keep consistent on the fact that we don't want to offend people? Like where the fuck is your line?
And it's just such a weird line to draw when it comes to, well, we wouldn't want to offend the Japanese people as we were running around as a ninja and a samurai assassinating retainers of Lord Obunaga's regime. We wouldn't want to offend them by damaging the shrine as we murder people.
Well, you see, Rev they want to be respectful to the Japanese people because they hold a great cultural respect, which is why they call him fucking Yasuke.
Yeah, that's why they keep calling him Yasuke. because they really resonate with the Japanese culture and beliefs, and they're really trying to be respectful.
Yeah, but look at their profile name. Revsaysdesu. You know, Desu. It's like it's the thing they say.
Also, this is just so fucking idiotic. After learning that Assassin's Creed Shadows allows players to trash real-world Japanese Shinto shrine, current caretakers vow to take appropriate action against Ubisoft. Wow, I didn't know that Ubisoft was actually funding people to go travel to the real-world shrine and destroy it as part of the gameplay. That's pretty crazy.
Yeah, they paid 2,500 black people to dress up as Yasuke in full.
Well, that better come with
right.
my copy of the game. When I buy Shadows, I better get a plane ticket so I can go destroy a real world Japanese shrine. Because how do you type
Yeah,
that
but only
out?
if only you dress up as Yasuke though.
Yeah.
So you have to do blackface.
I'm swiftly moving on. You notice how the tweet says, I don't know how you type this and you like don't understand what you're saying is retarded. Allows players to trash real world Japanese Shinto shrine. So normally this would be a joke, and I'd be saying this kind of as a reminder that this is not real. But just so you're aware, bounding into comics and Rev, this isn't real. No real world shrine was harmed in the making of this video game. Not one of them.
They're literally pixels.
They're literally pixels. Stop being such a pussy. Moving on.
We see this headline from Bounding into Comics. After learning that Assassin's Creed Shadows allows players to trash real-world Japanese Shinto shrine, current caretakers vow to take appropriate action against Ubisoft. So looking at the article here, we're talking about clips like this that went viral on YouTube and X as well, where players were showing that through Yasuke in particular, you could go to these Japanese shrines based on real-life counterparts and destroy them. And
Cool.
why is that such a big deal? Well,
It's not.
highly offensive.
Don't
The
care.
fact that there's certain
Yeah, because I just think it's so annoying that we have Rev over here trying to morally grandstand when there have been just other instances of the stuff they've copied where they don't give a shit about offending other people, which I agree with that. Like,
No,
they can have
that's the whole thing.
whatever
My
they-
consistent argument is, why would I phrase my art or my speech or my thing around whether or not people are going to get offended? People are going to get offended at anything. People can get offended at anything. So as long as your intent is not to offend someone, you're just trying to have fun. Who gives a shit what random people on the internet are going to get mad over? This is... Like, I love how you're saying, why is this a big deal? It's not. I don't care that people get offended. People, I guarantee you, there were probably some people in the world that if you showed them you running into a fucking pyramid as Bayek and looting it, they would go, well, this is very offensive. And I'd go, yeah, but you get a free skill point. And now I can attack in the air. When I land, I can do a landing attack. And I was one skill point away, and it's like 15,000 XP to the next level, but I can just go in this pyramid, and I get a free skill point, man. It's pretty cool.
You disgrace the landmark of my people.
Man, didn't you build a McDonald's 35 feet from the landmark of your people?
Then they throw you to the dunes.
Yeah, then they bury me in the sand. But yeah, it's like, guys...
Like that one scene in the Scorpion King with all the scorpions.
Well, that happens in Origins, too. There's a part of the game where we get buried up to our neck in sand.
I always got to do it with the sand dunes, man.
Yeah, it's a terrible way to die. But, yeah, it's just like... It's so funny to me because of all the things to take offense at, it's now that we can destroy video game structures. Really? I remember when Gamergate was going on, and all we were saying is we're not trying to offend or hurt anyone. We're just trying to have fun. What has happened to us? We have fallen so far.
certain things in this game that are not something you can destroy, but the shrines are, is rubbing a lot of Japanese gamers the wrong way. But as we can see here, notably, this instance of player freedom came as a particular shock to...
I'm sorry, I'm going to roll it back, but I just want to say, I find it interesting that this is the article they decided to start reading.
To read word for word, yeah. They're going to read this article
very
word for word, yeah.
Is rubbing a lot of Japanese gamers the wrong way. But as we can see here, notably, this instance of player freedom came as a particular shock to the shrine's aforementioned caretakers, who in response to being asked about the situation by Japanese news outlet Sankai Shimbun, declared, "We will take appropriate action." Further, when pressed as to whether or not they had been contacted by Ubisoft regarding the site's location in the game, they recalled, "No, if there had been, we would have refused."
So it's a good thing we don't fucking care then. It's a good thing that we don't have to ask permission to do historical settings. Fucking cope. Also, I'm pretty sure none of these shrine caretakers are going to be playing Assassin's Creed. Although how you're like, Japanese gamers are taking offense. The caretakers of these ancient Shinto shrines are none too pleased about it being in a video game. I'm sure they're not. I'm sure the actual ancient tour guides and caretakers of the of the Egyptian pyramids wouldn't take it too kindly that you can adventure into them for skill points. I don't care though. We're playing a game. We're trying to have fun. I want to go to the cool settings. And here's the thing, Rev, what do you want the alternative to be? We make a Japanese game about Assassin's Creed Shadows where these shrines would be, but then a fucking Abstergo memory wall pops up and goes, "I'm sorry, this is too offensive for you to play. Please go have fun in that direction." And they spin your character around. Like,
no, you get the warning message of, instead of Ezio does not kill innocents, it's Yasuke
black people
does
were not
destroy
allowed in this
historical.
shrine.
Yeah, Yasuke does not destroy historical monuments.
It's just, why is this what we're getting? Fucking, oh god. All right, let's get through this.
This is a very bad look for Ubisoft, and people fall back on the player decision. Of course, you only destroy the shrine in game if you want to, but still, a lot of Japanese gamers, based on their own sensibilities around the subject, they don't even want that to be an option. And with the way that
cool, I don't give a fuck.
Shadows has made mistake after mistake and made many insensitive things, people don't have as much.
Why do we care about the level of sensitivity? Again,
this is our whole thing that we fought against. This is what we fought against with DEI and Gamergate, and we just want to have fun. We just want to play games. I thought this was a criticism against Dragon Age Veilguard and Avowed and fucking Kingdom Come and Men 2 and fucking like everything. Like, I thought this was our problem. I thought this is what we were talking about. That people cared more about modern sensibilities and offense taking than having a good game. Why are we flipping our position when it comes to a game we don't like? Why? How is this happening?
Just looking at this real quick. After this video came out, I'm seeing at least 3 videos that refer to woke DEI or woke or DEI. So like immediately you're just going back to making fun of the exact same thing, and then you're relying basically on the same tactics of playing the victim on it.
Yeah, all it is well, I can't believe this game is woke and caring about sensitivities and offending people. Why can't they just make a good game? Ubisoft doesn't care about sensibilities or offending people. They just try to make a fun environment destroying kind of thing, and that probably took a decent amount of effort to code it to where certain animations were done based on where you slashed and what weapon you slashed with, and we're focusing on, well, I can't believe they didn't take our feelings into account when they let us destroy a shrine in a video game. What the fuck is going on, guys?
Absolute dog shit double standard.
You gotta fucking pick one, man. I don't even care if you have one standard or the other. At least you look. If someone was like, yeah, it's bad in any game you do that in. I like Dragon Age Veilguard. I like Avowed. I like the fact that they're taking priority over representation and blah 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 over gameplay, because I think that's a noble goal to reach. And as long as we perfect that, we'll eventually get good games. And this is just a sacrificing altar. Whatever shit that might be said. I would at least respect that more than you blatantly clowning on the tactics that you use depending on a different situation. Fucking, we have already hit points where I think Ubisoft would be on the grounds to sue you. You've misattributed quotes to purposely harm their reputation in hopes that it will damage the sales of their games. You've done it repeatedly throughout this video. You've lied, misattributed quotes, misread articles, taken information that would be positive, misconstrued it as negative, and now you're just using the culture. So before it was just you're lying, misrepresenting, and hurting someone's reputation. And now it's just you've betrayed your own position. You've betrayed your own standards for what we criticize because you're trying to you care more about winning this culture war and criticizing this thing than actually being consistent to your argument. You're going to lose the war to win this battle. Because if you're right and Ubisoft is unsuccessful and this game tanks, even though it's got all this effort put into it and we could play the game and it could be actually sound, but because of the culture war, you could win. Let's put it in that universe. You win the culture war without ever playing this game and knowing if it's good or not. You convince people not to buy it. Ubisoft goes under, and then never another Assassin's Creed game is made. But over time, we play Shadows and we go, that game was actually pretty good. That's weird. Why did Ubisoft collapse because of that? Well, probably because they were trying to do these tactics and these tactics. They should have just gone back to the, release a free game with $20 skins and microtransactions formula. They should have just done that. Because that's the lesson that these people are not going to learn the lesson of, well, let's just go make Metal Gear Solid 1 again. The only lesson they're going to learn from this is let's do what works. Let's go back to the formula.
Let's go back to the formula. Let's not try to take any chances on anything. And the problem is, whenever you do stuff like this, it leads me to want to think a lot of your other criticisms are invalid because of how absolutely bad faith you are being in how you're garnering this information right now.
Yeah, because I watched the videos on Dragon Age Veilguard and I watched the videos on Avowed and I generally agreed. I didn't play the games myself, but I was like, yeah, you look at these points or you look at certain reviews for like Star Wars Acolyte. This is something we brought up when we first watched this, where I was like, man, stuff like this makes me wonder the things I never gave a chance because I trusted these people's analysis based on the meta and the interviews they saw and the articles they read. If they've always been this bad faith about a certain position they were going to win, how many things did I not give a chance based on their word that I shouldn't have? Like how many things do I need to go re-examine? Because these people were never operating on what I thought we were operating off of, which is an objective standard for the craft. As long as the craft was good and it was made well, we were going to applaud it. But it turns out that's not the game we've been playing. Apparently the game has been playing, we're going to do the same lying, scumming tactics as they do, as long as it makes the thing I don't like look bad. Or the thing I don't like. Yeah, I said it right. It calls into question everything you've said before because you've engaged with this in such bad faith. And, Loach, here's the funny thing. Loach and I probably had one of our most heated arguments about this very subject with Asmongold and Rev. But this was kind of while I was, some videos deep and I had kind of all this context and you were just hearing it as a layman. You were like, well, James, I think you're being a little bit unfair. And as this I know with the Asmongold stuff, you might not have changed your mind, but when it comes to Rev, I
think especially the Asmongold stuff comes more from ignorance and taking people at face value for their stuff and presuming people like Rev are experts when they are most definitely not, especially with the fact that they are not taking the information that's blatantly fucking in front of them and taking it and actually reading it. I definitely think Rev is a much worse case when it comes to that. I'm still going to fall on, I do think Asmongold is not necessarily doing it maliciously.
No, I don't think he is either. And this is the thing. Asmongold is very upfront about the fact that he hasn't played any Assassin's Creed games and he doesn't like stealth games. I think Rev is trying to convince people that have never played an Assassin's Creed game that this game is bad. But they're not outright stating, I know Assassin's Creed and I know this is bad. They're just kind of implying it with certain phrases. If you look at the context of the franchise, they're just kind of subtly implying they have some level of knowledge while either not addressing or not even being aware of the counter arguments to what they're saying is. Oh, well, it's really offensive or really strange that they're allowed to damage shrines. Hey, Rev, well, if you know about Assassin's Creed, you know about Origins, Odyssey, Valhalla, where you go into the tombs of dead kings and get skill points from them, right? No one seemed to have a problem with that. At least not enough of a. And if there were people with a problem with that, we would laugh at them as the game sold 10 million copies plus. So.
Yeah, obviously people didn't care enough for it to stifle the game's success.
But now that there's a black samurai, now that's a problem. Now these things are just unacceptable. This is why people question your. And this is the thing we were saying earlier. I don't think you're racist or sexist. I don't. I'm gonna repeat that again. However, and this is the however the but that everyone's gonna predict, but it's not gonna go in that direction you think it is. Whenever you have criticism that is easily disproven by either reading the articles that you source or a simple Wikipedia search on the plot of any other Assassin's Creed game, or a look into the development cycle by creative directors that you've already cited, like when you say that most of the game was formulated around Yasuke and then they took a step back and did Naoe. Actually, it's the reverse. So if you did any of this research, all your arguments fall apart, but you didn't do that because you're engaging with this in bad faith. Now, here's the thing. This is why people sometimes question your motives or people like your motives with these criticisms. If these arguments can be so easily disproven with the least amount of inward reflection or looking at your own sources or research, but it's clear that you haven't because you have bad faith, well, bad faith comes from a bias. Where is this bias coming from? Is it that you hate Ubisoft this much that you're unwilling to read the articles you supply? And I think that could be true. I think that's probably accurate. But are you really going to say it comes out of completely left field or comes out of nowhere, comes out of the blue? If people go, I am slightly suspicious of where your bias is coming from and I'm unsure if that's wholly attributed to Ubisoft. If certain people are out there saying, it seems like this bias and bad faith comes from the fact that you simply do not like a black character being the focal point in a Japanese-based game, I don't think that's accurate. At least you have not portrayed any actual prejudice. But I don't think that they're schizo for thinking that. You have given them plenty of reasons to question where your bias is coming from, because you clearly have one. Let's skip to that part. You clearly have one. Otherwise, if this isn't bad faith, you have a kindergarten level reading comprehension. And I just don't think you're that unintelligent.
And the most important thing is, if you come into this, you look at this video, if the response you are going to say is going to be historical accuracy, I want you to stop. And I just do not walk in to the giant flaming pit that you're about to step in if you're going to say historical accuracy, because we are going to clap back so fucking hard, your head is going to spin.
Yeah, because my only response is going to be, I want you to pick any Assassin's Creed game in the series, and I just want you to play it, and then I want you to say that shit to me again.
Yeah, it's because that is just going to prove to your entire audience you have never played an Assassin's Creed game.
Yep. That's all it'll take. And you know what? In fact, we don't even have to do, because you might say the woke mind virus infected it. If you think historical accuracy is an actual point, an actual criticism to levy at shadows, I want you to play AC1. In AC1, you fucking find the Ark of the Covenant, and it's a magical ball that controls the minds of men and creates illusions. And then you fight that sorcerer at the end of the game while he creates clones and paralyzes your body. And then once you activate that sphere, once you get it at the end of the game, it shows a map of the fucking world accurate to the modern day back during the Third Crusade. Then he uses the information from that apple throughout the course of decades to invent the first gun that Leonardo da Vinci later finds in codex pages to recreate the gun during the Renaissance period, which accidentally hyperstarts the gunpowder and gun age hundreds of years earlier than we thought, but they eventually lose that formula over time because Leonardo and Ezio sabotaged war machines and destroyed the blueprints.
Literally historical accuracy, though.
Yeah, shut the fuck up, bro. Like, in that same AC2 game, because now we're in AC2, again, fist fight the Pope underneath the fucking Sistine Chapel, you ally with Niccolo Machiavelli, and he helps you helps you fight against the Templar movement. Leonardo da Vinci is your best friend, who invents and, actually makes the hidden blade in that game. In AC3, you collect codex pages for Benjamin Franklin. Benjamin Franklin is also a critical plot point in AC Rogue because he helps activate and power an ESU artifact that helps you find precursor sites that are critical on fault lines that can collapse entire cities if you remove the artifact. If it weren't for Benjamin Franklin, the city of Lisbon would still be standing according to the AC history lore. And you want to fucking come at me with historical accuracy? Shut the fuck up.
Tolerance, okay? If this was the only controversy facing Ubisoft with this game, I think it would blow over and be viewed very differently.
It should be
much
blowed over
more lightly by people. But nobody has sympathy for Ubisoft because they have constantly proven over and over again that they're insensitive towards the history and the Japanese culture they claim
Holy
to
shit, he did
respect
it.
so much. And this has gotten a lot of attention on Japanese social media. You can see this post right here with 11,000 likes.
Okay, yeah.
Regarding shrine destruction issue in Assassin's Creed, it's been confirmed that not only the Shooting Shield Heishi Shrine, but also the Association of Shinto Shrines involved in responding, while it can seriously become an international issue. Who the fuck cares? Also, the idea that because they have done certain bad controversies in the past, you will now abandon your values on not caring about sensibilities or offending people for gameplay, you just admitted the bias. Ubisoft has done enough bad things in the past where you're willing to condemn them for something you normally wouldn't. This is called bias. This is called bad faith. You look at you look at the thing and you go, I don't actually care about this. I don't care what they've done bad in the past. This isn't bad. That's what a normal person, that's what a reasonable person who's approaching this with some level of good faith analysis is. And here's the thing. To anybody who aligns with the shrine thing, you need to have the same complaint with this is the thing. If you're going to do this, then you didn't give a fuck about the pyramids, which is a wonder of the world, by the way. Probably one of the most famous monuments in the world, and we were allowed to go inside for skill points. You didn't have a problem with that. You didn't have a problem with Nordic kings and tombs that are very sacred in their culture, and disturbing them will prevent them from actually staying in Valhalla. No one cared about looting those. In Odyssey, we're going to loot dead Greek kings that would disturb their life in Elysium. No one cares. It's a video game. Did you know? Here's what's crazy. Did you know that when they wrote Bayek's motivations and they killed his kid, they didn't actually stab an 11-year-old Egyptian in order to do that story?
What?
Yeah, it was just pixels, actually. But they were able to do it in a way that portrayed his intense sadness because his son, he felt, was denied an afterlife. Anyway, moving on.
It's translated, of course, saying, regarding the shrine destruction issue in Assassin's Creed, it has been confirmed that not only the Shooting Shield Heishi Shrine, but also the Association of Shinto Shrines is involved in responding. Wow, this could seriously become an international issue. And we also have this person pointing out an example of something very similar happening to another game. So saying this, Association of Shinto Shrines was involved with a game being paused, Yashahiro ni Hoheto. It had personified shrine characters. However, complaints from the association led to its development being canceled. So we have an example.
So this is what.
Let me roll that back so we can get that again because I dropped my mouse.
Oh, okay. This is where context is important. That was a Japanese game publisher, like, doing that when it was canceled based on backlash, when it was very early on in the conceptual stage. If you think that these people are going to be able to pause or cancel Assassin's Creed, a company based out of Ubisoft, and you think you're going to be able to get it canceled, or you think people care about this, you're just wrong, buddy. Good luck. Good luck. You've got 2 weeks to release.
Best of luck. Yeah, you really got a rush order on it.
Hey, you're kind of late on the fucking game here.
Responding, wow, this
is this an old video, by the way? Because this is a month-old tweet. This is February 18th. Is this tweet? How old is this video?
Rev put this video out 13 days ago. Okay,
so this is kind of an older video. So it's been 2 weeks. They haven't canceled the game yet. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, this is their last Assassin's Creed Shadow video so far.
Alright, let's fucking hope so. Let's hope it's the last one. God. Alright.
And we also have this person pointing out an example of something very similar happening to another game. So saying this, Association of Shinto Shrines was involved with a game being paused. Yashahiro ni Hoheto. It had personified shrine characters. However, complaints from the association led to its development being canceled. So we have an example of a game.
So, just your argument, you think that they're actually going to be able to cancel the development of Assassin's Creed Shadows by using looks like a gacha game from a Japanese studio that's probably small, because I've never heard of this fucking game, so it's probably not based on a monumental franchise. You think this is at all comparable to these shrines trying to pick a fight with Ubisoft, a French game with like a shit ton of money and an established franchise as Assassin's Creed? You think that's within a month of the release, you think this is going to do anything?
Also, Rev, I really hate to let you know, but you're promoting this group to use a social stigma to cancel a game. You know we're supposed to be against that, right? Like,
oh, well, I just fully acknowledge that they don't have any standards, and this is the thing. They will use any standard to win what they perceive as the cultural battle, which is this just made them just as bad as anybody else who does this. If you do this on the other side, I would criticize you as heavily as Rev is doing here. You are encouraging people to use social stigma and social pressures to cancel the game that a shit ton of people depend on employment for, without even seeing the game's release or quality. You're trying to get it canceled for sensibilities and offense taken. The fuck are you doing? You have lost the fucking plot, Rev. What a dog shit video.
Trying to personify these shrines getting canceled as a result of complaints from this Shinto Shrine Association. And that is something that Ubisoft is now dealing with. And the repercussions of that is not something that's going to really probably happen internationally, but something could happen in Japan. We'll have to wait and see if they go further with this. But
it won't.
Apparently there is some action in motion from these related parties. Now, of course, there's more, right? So there's another tweet flying around on Japanese social media, again translated, saying, Assassin's Creed Shadows is sure to infuriate the Royal Household Agency. Commercial use of the Emperor's Tomb, a system that allows players to rob the Emperor's Tomb. Okay. Commercial use of the Chrysanthemum.
It's okay, buddy.
Chrysanthemum, man. It's all right.
But also, the commercial use of the Emperor's Tomb, a system that allows players to rob the Emperor's Tomb, it's crazy. That almost sounds similar. Like, where have I robbed an emperor? Not an emperor, that's not the right word. A pharaoh's tomb? Like the pyramids of Giza, I can rob and get skill points from?
Also, we're somehow putting some moral gravity on the Emperor's Tomb. The sigil of the Emperor's crest. If this was the British royals,
who would? Yeah, exactly. No one would give a fuck.
Who cares?
But at the end of Syndicate, you get knighted by the Queen.
Actually, no, that's a great point. We just knight random fucking character. We just completely just take that.
And I was against that. You know why I was against that? Not because I care about the royal family, but because knighting them puts them in a book of knights that's in history that we can read.
Yeah, it just goes against the lore of the world.
Yeah, anybody seeing the fucking problem there? Because Jake and even Fry don't fucking exist?
I wonder if this will infuriate people other than the imperial household.
It shouldn't. I hope I get to assassinate the emperor. How about that? Would that make them feel better?
In the Assassin's Creed game.
Yeah. Well, duh. I hope in this game I can wipe out the entire lineage of their bloodline.
The young master.
In fact, if there's a prompt that lets me force the little 7-year-old Emperor Master to commit seppuku, I'll make him do it. just to prove to you that nothing is sacred in this video game. I will become I'm gonna be Yabashigi in this fucking Assassin's Creed Shadows game. I'm gonna make people.
Well, you already said that when you play Yasuke, you're gonna test your blade on every.
100%. Every time I get a new weapon, I'm testing the blade on a peasant. Fuck you. Nothing sacred. In fact, I might test it on a shrine peasant.
Well, no. You got to remember, we're doing that for historical accuracy, so Rev would prove it.
Oh, true. Rev would approve that, but they wouldn't approve me testing my blade on a shrine maiden.
Right.
About here is some examples of a tomb from the Japanese imperial family that apparently you can loot armor sets from.
Hey, I'm already gonna buy the game. You don't have to sell me on it. I'm already buying the game, bro.
In fact, there is some claims out there that,
according to Grok, so using the Twitter AI, by the way.
According to the Twitter AI, Ubisoft may be in violation of Article 2 through 2 of the Penal Code, which covers defamation of the imperial family. If such complaint... Oh, okay, cool. I don't care.
Yeah.
They're not bound by Japanese law. Cope and fucking seethe.
I'm pretty sure a bunch of the Nintendo lawsuits have also found that Japanese law is not world law, much to their dismay.
Yeah. You know what? To prove this point, they should make an Assassin's Creed game where shows up. I want them to depict.
Hey, we should edit this out, by the way. No, please don't do that.
James, I have a family, please.
Well, no, I'm saying this because I don't care. I'm trying to save you. I'm trying to save your fucking face here.
I think they should do it. I think it'd be brave. They should make him an assassin.
It'd be really funny. You should bleep the name so no one knows who you're talking about.
Yeah, and they're just like, this feels very offensive, but I don't know how. I will do that. All right. How much longer do we have in this video?
Some laws
4
in
minutes.
Japan that not only covered the destruction of the real life.
Are we really going through the Japanese?
Yeah. I was about to say, are we really looking through the Japanese law when it comes to video game pixels? Really?
Well, video game pixels of the portrayal of crests and stuff of the Emperor of Japan, who is completely fucking irrelevant, by the way.
Yeah, and it's just like, guys, I hate to remind you, but this is a video game. Is the alternative that in a video game about a video game about Edo period Japan, we can't depict certain things because of current modern day Japanese law? So what you're saying is don't make the game.
So another thing I want to say here, they are holding their mouse over a part of this penal code, which is, as a result, creators must ensure any depiction of the imperial family is respectful and avoid suggesting criticism or interference.
Or irreverence.
Irreverence. Sorry, can't read. Sorry.
Yeah.
So we're just gonna be 100% cool with no story can denote anything about the imperial family of Japan as being negative. We're just cool with that.
Yeah. This is where I'm gonna hit you with the smooth. I don't give a fuck about what their laws are when it comes to the media I enjoy, and if they have a problem with it, we'll drop the fucking third nuke. How about that?
Yeah, stop trying to moral grandstand on Japanese Penal Code Article 232. Shut the fuck up.
Yeah, you know what? When Japan if Japan won World War II, we might give a fuck about what their laws were when making our video games.
Yeah, right.
Your culture is to be exploited for my entertainment. That's your penalty for losing World War II. You know what? I'm gonna beat off to some hentai tonight just because of that. I'm gonna exploit your culture. I'm gonna find a shrine maiden dojin just for you.
Ooh, shrine maiden NTR.
Yeah, ugly bastard.
Shrine maiden American NTR.
Yeah, there we go.
Some laws in Japan that not only covered the destruction of the real life counterparts, but also this includes depictions of the imperial family in media. So technically, they might actually be breaking Japanese law as a result of this in-game mechanic. Again, whether the punishment is received or not, we don't know, but it's just another example of something that seems insensitive to Japanese culture that, again, they claim to respect so much over at Ubisoft. Now, while Assassin's Creed
Okay, no, I'll agree with you. If they're making the claim that they respect it and they are like doing all this stuff to like make sure to not offend people with that, L on them for making the claim and then not following through with it.
But then I want to be like, what do you want? Like, what is the alternative? You want them to do an Assassin's Creed game about this time period, but what, you just can't go to those areas? You just can't go check out those places?
Well, no, they want it to be non-destructible terrains and like
Non-interactable
maintain.
with NPCs. That again, if you approach with Nawe, they slap you because you're in sacred ground.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. If you follow too close, it's not a way. He does the cut scene where you get slapped the shit out of you.
Like, this is one of those things where it's like, okay, I hear your criticism. I would now like to hear your answer for how to make this better. So okay, yeah. Don't destroy the shrines. Don't depict the shrines. Don't depict the Emperor's tomb or loot any of that. So what you're advocating for is let's just cut some content out. Let's cut some areas, dungeons, loot, gear, quests. You just want to cut that out, and that will make game better. That's
Yeah,
your
yeah.
proposal.
So instead of going to like historical tomb of like the emperor, like a high level like a lord or whatever, and getting to get like his armor set, oh, that should be a random drop from a bandit.
No, because that might have the crest on it, so you just don't get that armor. We're just gonna cut that out. It's gone.
Well, no. We still get the armor. We just remove the crest.
There we go, fixed.
We just use the Photoshop smudge tool and we just smudge the crest so it's not recognizable.
And like, this is what's kind of frustrating because I think, and this is just something to keep aware, you're barking up the wrong tree when it comes to accusing Ubisoft of not caring about historical relevance or locations or areas. I want you to keep this in mind. If the officials of Notre Dame had this same reaction and prevented them from correctly modeling Notre Dame, they wouldn't have been able to restore it.
Ooh, that's
If they had the same backlash against capturing Notre Dame and being able to explore it and being able to go inside it and climb it and have all this, if they just denied that, they walled that off by a memory wall and cut that content, when the Notre Dame caught fire, they wouldn't have had AC Unity as reference material to rebuild it brick by brick. To accuse Ubisoft and Assassin's Creed as a franchise of not caring about the historical settings or the locations is actually to not give them any benefit of the doubt that they have rightfully accrued up over the history of their franchise, because that's one of the only things that you can never accuse them of shortcutting. Every single one of their locations is basically nearly one-to-one accurate. Look at Notre Dame. Look at the pyramids in terms of size, location. Look at the Bent Pyramid. Look at the capstone on the Giza Pyramid. Look at the Sphinx. Look at fucking Big Ben in Syndicate. Look at Constantinople in Revelations. Look at Masyaf in 1 and Revelations. Look at the Colosseum in Brotherhood. They do like you. I'm sorry, but they have built up too much good faith for me to lose faith here. They've done it 17 games in a row. Every time there's a historical location or a historical monument, they take care to basically replicate it one for one. And there's uses for that, both in fun and enjoyment and respect paid. Because you know what? You can destroy the shrine if you want to, Yasuke. Also, I guarantee you, if you want to humbly walk in, remove your shoes, take off your blade, and kneel at the shrine, I bet you Ubisoft lets you do that. Because it wouldn't require too many buttons. You just interact, press Y to interact with shrine, and then you do the whole shrine process. I bet you that's probably in the game. Because they always do that shit.
Dude, no, you can't bring that up. You can't bring that up because I can't spin that negatively.
In fact, if you happen to be walking in front of Notre Dame when the mass bell rings, Arno will do an animation where he bows his head. They didn't have to do that.
That's nice.
Yeah, they didn't have to do that. it just goes to show that, like, look, you can accuse Ubisoft of a whole bunch of different things, but when we're talking about Assassin's Creed and what the developers of those games have earned from me, it's trust when it comes to historical settings. They just have. I don't even like Valhalla, but I guarantee when I get to Valhalla, I'm going to look at certain settings and certain Viking camps and go, fuck, this looks really fucking cool. God damn it. Look at these boats. Look at these Viking boats. They're so accurate. And look at the weapons of the time. Like, oh man, it's so cool. Yeah, I'm probably not gonna like much else about Valhalla in terms of combat or in terms of I probably won't like the narrative that much. I really don't like Layla. Trevor, it was really funny when we were playing Origins. Basically every Layla scene, we're like, this is dumb. None of this makes sense. All right, let's keep going.
Shadows, and Ubisoft is doing everything in their power to downplay Yasuke, to put him in the background and to make gamers feel like you don't have to go with this person that they were trying so hard to push for.
They didn't do that.
I mean,
the article.
Yeah, I almost don't want to respond to this because like we've already covered this. It's just not true. You're extrapolating, and you're like, again, you're assuming that that their whole intent is that you can play less of Yasuke instead of you can play less of Nawe if you want. Also, again, we proved that Nawe was the primary character design before they came up with Yasuke. So again, you're just wrong. We'll just let you dig.
Yeah, it worked.
Nearly a year now. There is a counterpart that is pushing Yasuke very hard. This is a game that has been recently put onto Steam called Yasuke Simulator, made by historically accurate developers. You can see in the background, this game is trying its best to follow in the footsteps, the brave footsteps of Ubisoft, and create a Yasuke who's historically accurate, who drives cars, shoots guns, runs over everyone. It is a very wild game being produced here, and a lot of people are rallying behind this. It's expected to release on March 20th of 2025, which is obviously the same day as Assassin's Creed Shadows, and that is very funny. So about this game, right, you play as Yasuke, embrace your unique heritage as you navigate feudal Japan in a...
Hey, all I'm gonna say, I heavily respect the man who made this, because they are definitely gonna get a fucking bag off this, by the way.
No, yeah, they're gonna make money, but I'm waiting to see what the point of bringing this up is. What is your point? Are you gonna, or I'm wondering if they're going to do. I wonder if they're going to be Icarus. Are you going to fly too close to the sun? Are you just going to go, this is a funny little thing, and look, this is obviously like kind of a counterculture movement. But are you going to fly too close to the sun and predict that this game is going to do better than Shadows? I'm waiting on that. I'm really wondering if you're going to do that. Because it's going to get
fight for survival and dignity. Master epic samurai combat. Wield your katana with style, precision, and flair, slashing through waves of...
I just want to note, yet again, they decided to read this one from the top as well.
Well, yeah, and of course they're inflecting it in a very positive way because they like this because it's making fun of Yasuke and it's making fun of the whole thing rather than like you just lambasted. And goes to show you the double standards. You just lambasted Shadows because they're not being historically accurate and they're disrespecting the shrines. Cut to, this is such a funny, cool game. You drive around in cars and shoot people as Yasuke. This is really cool and epic and funny. It's like,
To be fair, I will say I can tell the sarcasm in this.
Mm-hmm. But there's a positive inflection on reading this, but yeah.
Adversaries. Unleash your inner warrior. Tap into your ancestral power to perform devastating moves and awaken a latent strength that transcends time. Find secret gear across the map. The map is full of secret gear you can find and use against your enemies. Historically accurate. The Yasuke Simulator team has done its research and went above and beyond to provide a totally historically accurate depiction of feudal Japan with Yasuke, the samurai. And you know, they're doing a very good job. They're definitely following in the footsteps of Ubisoft here. Thomas Lockley would be very proud of this depiction. And as you can see, I mean, just look at this stuff. I just smell historical accuracy, and I really appreciate what they're doing here. But of course, this is just a giant meme meant to disrupt what's going on with Assassin's Creed Shadows. And again, none of this would happen if Assassin's Creed Shadows just did their job and weren't making so many mistakes. And people are making so many posts in the
What do you
community
mean by do
manager,
their job?
saying people's jobs are
We'll make it historically accurate.
Yeah, like this is the problem where I'm like, what do you assume their job should be? This wouldn't happen if they just did their job. What, like, ban Yasuke?
No. Make it historically accurate. You make him a jester performing at Nobunaga's stuff. You get in. You're forced to do a QTE for the tea ceremony where like a bunch of nobles are standing or like sitting around watching you do it. But the QTE is like really fucking hard, so it's like designed for you to fail it.
Yeah, and then like you just immediately get pissed on by Yabashiki.
Yeah. I like this one. I like how it pretends to know our customs.
Okay, it's...
are at stake at Ubisoft. I like steak too, buddy. Will this game support the LGBT? Just got a new LG 8K TV and want to play the game on it. Will the devs support my gaming choices? And there's a lot of other funny examples on here about not trying to miss proper pronouns and gender options here, and people want to be attack helicopters and be non-binary, B-U-Y, binary there, but yeah.
That's a pretty funny
looking
joke.
at the,
Non-binary.
Right
Yeah, it's
now,
funny.
Yasuke Simulator is 1,300 overall in wishlist, and people are spamming this in their wishlist. Trying to boost this game is basically a giant meme, a giant middle finger to Ubisoft, and I think it's pretty funny. This has actually risen. It was like around 3,000 in terms of wishlist like 2 days ago, so it's jumped from that to 1,300. So hey, if you want to make something funny happen, go ahead and wishlist this game and help meme on Ubisoft and Assassin's Creed Shadows. But anyways, that's going to do it for this video and the latest update on Assassin's
So you
Creed
end the
Shadows
video
on
with
Ubisoft. As always,
brigading your
feel free to share your
fans.
thoughts about today's topics in the comments
Okay,
section
I'm gonna wait till
below.
the video pauses.
Hope you guys enjoy the video, and I'll see you next time.
What a dog shit video. What a terrible video. I like how you end it with brigading your fans to wishlist something else in an attempt to sabotage a game that hasn't come out yet because you think it's going to be bad because, well, you really didn't offer that much that is... You haven't offered a valid criticism yet. I would love for you to come up with one just to see if you can, but...
Yasuke Simulator at 790 on the wish list.
Where's Assassin's Creed Shadows at?
That's a good point.
Is it higher in the wish list than Shadows? It'd be funny. That would be funny. I would laugh.
It is number 53 in wish list.
Get absolutely turbo fucked. By the way, the game's gonna do bad. It's number 15 in all of Steam of wish list.
It's also in the top 35 of top sellers. And that's in pre-orders. With almost 25,000 followers, by the way.
Well, man, what a garbage video. And I feel like we have covered basically everything that needs to be covered with this. I mean, we can go back and we can look at some of the older videos at some other time where they talk about the whole historical accuracy thing, because I feel like they lightly touched on it and we immediately hit them in the face with a shovel, because I've heard that argument from them before.
I actually would prefer to not do that.
No, I don't want to do that right now.
Well, no. I say that. No, I say not. I say not covering that in general because I like leaving that open because I know they would not watch our full video. Like they would just kind of skim through it, so they wouldn't even get to this ending part right here and see that we're waiting on them to do that. And I want them to walk face first into it, so we can just fucking the 1-2 combo.
That's true, but I think
I want to Dempsey roll this VTubing little crispy critter.
Well, I think that about covers it from us. So there's not much else left to say other than, look, everyone has a side in the culture war they want. Most people have an agenda or a motivation they want. Most people profess, at least the gamers, that they just want good games. And that's my standard. I just want a game that is fun and enjoyable. This is kind of a warning out there that usually this kind of behavior comes from one side, and we've come to expect that, and we have our guard up for that. Have your guard up for the people that are usually on the other side too, because this can happen to you too. You are not immune to propaganda, where you can get so swept up with the culture battle and the trying to win this position, if Shadows loses, I win type of mentality, that you will denigrate and criticize genuinely good game design philosophy in order to promote your agenda, which is that you want this game to fail. This is the same thing when people lie about certain gameplay elements in Hogwarts Legacy in order to affect its sales. And we called that bad then. We're calling it bad now. We must be better. You can't do this shit. This is wrong. And if I was working at Ubisoft, I would be talking to the legal department about this video. I think there's enough here that's probably actionable. But I'm not a lawyer, so I could be wrong. But I just feel like enough here has been proven that you are intentionally lying about certain positions in order to damage the reputation, which is slander. That's what slander is. So, yeah. That's about it for me. I don't know if Loach has anything else closing to say, but
No, that's all I got. I mean, I feel like we've given Rev enough beatings for the day. We'll take their lunch money and then we'll send them home.
yeah. Just like their stepdad / bully, because they were homeschooled but still bullied. It's a crazy situation.
I'm gonna go fuck your mom.
All right, we'll catch you guys in the next one.
I better see that hair, nice, pretty, and neon.
I remember fat VTuber if they break more than 10 million sales. I want your
Oh
VTuber
yeah,
to be fat.
you better be fucking sweating.
All right.
All right, see you guys.
See ya. Bye bye.